Good morning, Miami, and welcome to the Heroes International Final Day. My name is Trixler over here to the right, Mr. Justing. What is up, dude?
I'm super excited.
Yeah?
I'm thinking that there's a pretty good chance that this is the precursor to the finals, and it's going to be so hyped because if you lose this match, you have a long road to potentially face up in a rematch. So I'm so excited that this is the match that I get to cast.
Before we jump into that, though, I have to give some credit to Alejandro over here. My man. We didn't get to see the Murky getting picked, and he drew a skill issue Murky drawing. Now, we're missing the color. That's okay, though. He did this in 2 to 3 seconds. It's freaking amazing. And you let me hold on to it. I'm going to give it back to him now, right over here, because I will walk away from that and utilize it in my room. It'll be great. I actually need something on my white walls. It's kind of ridiculous out there. But, yes, we do have a fantastic match coming up very, very soon. We have Tempest taking on Bang Bush. That's right, the #1 seed of Korea taking on the #2 seed of Europe. And I gotta say, both teams are very impressive.
Yeah, I was especially impressed with Bang Bush. They weren't really the team that I expected to come through and make it here to where they are and do it so dominantly.
Yeah.
But, because I mean, online, I've seen these players play quite a bit, and individually, I didn't expect them to be this strong. And I guess they've been playing for a little bit together in Europe, and they're absolutely just nuts right now, so I'm really, really excited for this.
One of those players that's very, very nuts, I think a lot of people will be looking forward to, is Ultralisk. This man is the king of flexing. He has characters like Kerrigan that he can pull out. I mean, my gosh, if he wanted to, he could probably play Murky really well. I've heard rumors of Murky good players
Swamp
here.
Garada.
Not to say that's going to happen. I would be excited. I would be really, really pumped. It would make my entire weekend. I would love life more if someone did it, but, you know, we can't put that pressure on the pro players, you know.
I mean, unless he wants to. Swamp Garada, Murky aficionado, it's definitely a possibility. We saw it from him online before. Not in this event, but
don't get my hopes up like that. You cannot do that. Let's go through the roster here real quick. Let's start with the Koreans. Tempest will be the team that we will continue to watch today. They have been so darn dominant already, making it all the way here to the winner's bracket. The players are Capybara, Lockdown, Cappy, Gondar, and KCB. Which I just love saying, honestly.
Gondar, especially, looked just absolutely ridiculous in their first match. We saw on the flex picks, on the aggressive, just divey characters, Gondar was just absolutely smurfing it.
We got a lot of folks that have been around here for a long time in HGC. Lockdown in particular is a name that you should identify if you've watched any Heroes of the Storm, especially the BlizzCons in the last few years ago. Over to the other side, we have Bang Bush. We've already talked about a few of them already. Ultralisk and Nagram being brought up, but of course Vamp Grotto, which I learned this morning means Mushroom Cave. I asked him if I can call him the Mushroom King today. He said he was okay with it. I don't know if I'm going to do it. I'm still on the fence. We'll figure it out. And then, of course, we got Skog and Henning, who are here to represent EU.
Yeah, this team absolutely exceeding my expectations. I think a lot of people were really expecting Washed Up to be the EU team that was going to be representing the top 3 here.
Yeah.
But Bang Bush with the big upset from 2nd seed, absolutely smurfing it to get here. Ultralisk, the super flex, he was getting tons of targeted bans in the first rotation, things like Kerrigan, things that we haven't even gotten to see at all this whole event being first banned. So a lot of respect for these players.
I mean, yeah, it's always amazing when you're into a tournament bracket and you see these off-meta things get banned out because they earn that respect globally already, you know? And I believe that was a Korean team that had that first ban against them, too. So we'll see if that will occur for this beautiful European team. Man, I look at them and I just look at Nagram here in the middle.
He's chilling.
And I just, like, he's a vibe, dude. Like, that vibe continues throughout the entire match. Like, I don't think we've had a one-on-one interaction. My first time seeing that man 5 inches away from me, he walked up, he put his hands on his hips, and he did a little wiggle. And I was like, all right, that's Nagram. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I saw him run up, choose Joy's ultimate ability in the ARAM, and then just run away.
Yeah. There were some ARAMs that were going on this morning.
He's having some fun.
And I was like, you got to go Cups. Or not Cups. I got to go Dragon. You always go Dragon. And he just walked up and he was like, no, Cups. Cups is how you win. This man is actually about winning. Like, he has a playful personality. But even watching Watch Up yesterday when they were taking on Ammo Knight, he was like, ooh, that's a mistake. This needs to be fixed. This could be occurred. Like, that's the type of mentality you got to have to win tournaments. And that makes me so excited for today's matchup. All right, the draft is ready. It's Tempest taking on Bang Bush. We're going to hop into it, and already, you're about to have the screen on for a second, we already have Kerrigan, Tyrael banned out, and a Lucio grabbing a ban.
Yep, the Lucio ban really early. Something that I've noticed from the Korean teams in this tournament is that they really prioritize the Malfurion quite heavily, which coming into this, especially from NA, we almost never saw Malfurion in pretty much any of the draft meta. He was considered to be almost unplayable because he has no defensives, losing the ice block that he used to have. So we'll see if the teams are prioritizing that. I know EU is a little bit more familiar with the Malfurion, and everyone like Henning, who's been around for a very long time in the scene, very comfortable with that hero, but immediately the Diablo. We saw yesterday Ammonite really struggling when they weren't able to get the Diablo, so that's a nice pickup for Tempest.
Yeah, Diablo's been a main focus here. And that's also to your point about Malfurion being in an issue where he felt kind of paper thin. With it being such a tank meta, suddenly Malfurion, who's just left uncontested, is getting a little bit more value. So I like that you bring that up, and we should see a lot of that in the tournament overall. For another healer that has actually been, to my delight, a first pick and ban, Brightwing and Blaze coming out, which for some reason, I don't know what it is. Like, I love when Khaldor is just slightly wrong. You know, he's been calling Brightwing bad for like 2 to 3 years. This character has not been changed at all, and suddenly she's top priority. So who's wrong now, Mr. Khaldor?
Just random shots against Khaldor while he's not here to defend himself.
No, he needs it. He needs it sometimes. That man's ego.
I could see it. But we do have the Blaze and the Brightwing picked up right now on the side of Bangbush. They're looking, that's just like good meta strong picks. Blaze in particular has been just an absolute menace at this whole event. Blaze has looked like he's just in a tier on his own above all the other offlaners. And we haven't seen a ton of Hogger, so it's a little bit strange to see that coming out on the side of Tempest.
Has Hogger earned a lot of W's this weekend? I feel like he's 1-3 in the games that I've seen. Like
I don't think he's done well.
Yeah, he's had a rough one. Like, obviously, he's strong. He has survivability. He gets the wave clear the mercenary camps. But it seems like the actual blow-up, which has been becoming a trend the last couple of days, Hogger kind of suffers a little bit there.
Yeah, his CC is a lot less easy to hit. It's not like just as simple as jumping on someone in your L, DWing them, or looking to get the Blaze charge. It's a lot just it's a little bit more awkward on the Hogger to be able to get that CC. You have to put down the loot horde. He's also squishier than all the other traditional offlaners. Like Dahaka's not really a target in fights. Blaze also isn't really a target, but Hogger's a real target. You can actually just burst him down if he doesn't have his E available. So it's just a riskier pick. So you have to have a lot more to just support the Hogger.
And Sylvanas has been a mainstay for the entire tournament. I feel like she actually has a pretty massive win rate, just being able to enable any type of pushes that are happening. Because especially for the Korean teams, if they find 1, maybe even 2 kills, they just go for it. They're like, this fort's dead, this keeps dead. Oh, wait, there's your core as well. And Sylvanas really empowers that. So Bangbush takes it away from them. A Nubrak and a Hanzo. A solid tank lineup, one that pairs well with Blaze. Also that protection from the bunker. Make sure that a Nubrak's weakness, which is his squishiness, is completely negated.
Yeah, and they're leaving their last pick available. We do have the Genji picked up here for Gondar. Gondar was an absolute monster on these hyper-mobile assassins. So that's a scary thing, especially for a Korean team to have it. It seems like the Koreans have really been spearheading the priority on Genji and looking insane with it. But we have a somewhat EU special with the hammer as the last pick. We did have the last pick saved, the flex pick for Bangbush. So that's going to be their response. It's kind of weird how Genji is something that you would think would be kind of like a counter to Hammer because it's a dive hero, it's an assassin. But Hammer can sort of just hold her ground and stand there and out-trade the Genji, even in short range. After you lose your dodge charges on the Genji, you're just really vulnerable against the Sergeant Hammer. So you're kind of on a timer. Your engages for Tempest have to be a lot more clean against the Sergeant Hammer because she's constantly going to be just whittling away at your health bars.
That she is. Well, our first match of the day is already ready to kick off. We are moving into Towers of Doom, a map that has put a hefty amount of amazing games onto our radars. We're going to see how this one's going to be unfolding. If you had to pick really quickly, without giving any explanation, who do you think has a better draft?
So I'm going to have to go with Bangbush.
You think Bangbush all the way here. All right, there are a couple of Overwatch heroes on the other side here for Towers of Doom and Tempest, and of course they are red hot. This match is going to be electric. I'm ready for it. I hope you're ready for it. Thanks again for being here. And do note, if you have been here for a little bit, I'm going to talk about it after this game probably. We have a giveaway for banners here if you want something cool. And subs, if you've been subbing to the stream, as you should, you'll have a better chance of getting that banner. All right, let's hop into it. Towers of Doom on the far left. Oh, excuse me, on the far right, we're starting with Bangbush, Henning playing Brightwing, Ultralisk on Sergeant Hammer, Nagrum on a Nubrak, Famgrante, also known as a Mushroom Cave, playing Blaze, and Skog on Hanzo.
And on the blue side, on Tempest, we have Kepi playing the Hogger, Gondar playing Genji, Lockdown playing the Junkrat, Capybara, the Diablo player, and KCB playing the Rhaegar.
So, just so you're fully aware as we head into this match before things get too crazy, if we have a crazy player in the middle of a play, I'm yelling KCB.
KCB. It does just feel good.
You got to yell the B with your left cheek. Yeah, it feels good,
yeah,
right?
It does feel good.
That feels really nice. We have seen this from Bangbush already. They are willing to leave Ultralisk all by himself in a lane. Not going to be as strong on Towers of Doom, especially on the bottom side, but this is where you want to start setting up and understanding the rotations of your opponent. Bangbush looks at them and says, How do you respond to what we're doing?
And it's not as strong for the structural value at this point because obviously the way that Towers of Doom works is very different from most maps, but once the objective spawns, there's a lot of tools on the side of Bang Bush to be able to just stall the objective while the hammer gets split push value. So them understanding that already, having Hammer alone in a solo lane is a very scary thing for Tempest. It means that Tempest is going to be, for most of this game, sort of playing on a bit of a timer, because at all points in the game, the Hammer will be constantly getting just push value if you want to contest a single objective.
Yeah, there's multiple heroes that kind of put you on a timer in this game. There's Lost Vikings, Abathur, and Sergeant Hammer are probably your top three that really force you to respawn and change the whole dynamic. I would say Cho'Gath to a degree as well, but he's also a little bit more of a raid boss type of thing. All right, Sappers being grabbed here at the 1 minute mark per usual. Nagram did see Diablo rotate to the left, so he's just here to make sure that there's no major invade happening. Usually, if you're playing a Sergeant Hammer composition, you just want to grab that first mercenary camp, but not really invade unless you have a good siege potential. You just want to make sure that you have that one-for-one trade.
Ooh, a nice attempt there by Nagram trying to get the interrupt onto the Genji, trying to predict it with the E with the burrow charge. It doesn't work out, but there's not a lot of siege going to be happening on the other side of the map either. Ultralisk should do a fairly good job of defending this. We'll see if the rest of Bang Bush rotates down, if they're able to get a pick, maybe onto lockdown. Nagram's pretty far forward. He's looking.
Jumps away, does oppose. Nagram here with the burrow charge.
Oh, but the reverse.
But Capybara is there. Phase shift comes in for a heal, saving his teammates. Meanwhile, Ultra's all right.
Gondar's here.
Zappers. Oh, they find first blood as Tempest and the aid of Junkrat get a kill on
really nice
Brightwing.
Synergy there between Capybara getting the flip into the wall. Brightwing comes in to save and gets punished for it. So a little bit over-aggression here coming out on the side of Bang Bush, not quite respecting Capybara on this Diablo. A little baby dive there too by Nagram. That was he got a little bit nervous there for a second.
Yeah,
that's not really what you'd expect. A bit, just a bit bullying here happening in the bottom lane. Not really what you expect when you have Sergeant Hammer, especially as Gondar is still just looking. The Genji's really been the difference maker in all of these early game skirmishes.
Yeah,
too.
they surely have. The Koreans just somehow just get a little bit more damage in there. I think what it comes down to is they are just on top of those auto attacks. Most Genjis will dash in, and if they have a winning trade, they'll keep the pressure up. But if they decide that your health bar is a little bit higher than theirs, they'll back away. Tempest, ammo, just don't really care too much about that. Here's Gondar jumping over the map once again, keeping up the consistent pressure wherever he can show up.
And playing against the Genji is extremely frustrating. Just the range that he has is a little bit deceptive because he only has to be in range for his first shuriken. So a good Genji is going to auto you and kind of back up and play with like even more range than you'd expect. So it's just really obnoxious to try to trade back against him, even against these sort of more long-range heroes like even a Hanzo can struggle in certain situations trading back.
Well, Alter's traded, one to the top left, one to the top right, 36 to 36. Nagram starting this channel. Brightwing in a position where she can get a phase shift in. She is facing off against Genji, so she will try to keep the lane pushed out, but also not take any damage. Capybara comes around, goes for a combo, landing straight on top of the trap. Nagram getting bullied a bit, but thanks to that spell shield, able to survive.
So the expectation for Bang Bush is that they're not really going to be able to get a ton of kills until later on.
Oh!
The Diablo,
That was
maybe
really close.
Oh, Nagram's booped back. We'll see if he's able to escape here. Diablo looking for body blocks as well. Nagram just gets completely deleted here. That's not what you expect, too, especially into this composition from Tempest. They don't have a ton of damage that's good at killing a Nubarak. There's no auto attackers. They're still going, though. They've got the boop, too, onto the Sergeant Hammer. She's trying to run away. Ultralisk going to get extremely low. Does get taken down.
They are doing a wonderful job, Genji in particular, of trying to put pressure on two targets at once. What this does is force Brightwing to phase shift on one of them. The moment that phase shift connects with one of the targets and they have a retreat, they turn around and isolate the second target that did not get healing. In this case, it's been a Nubarak twice now. Expect that to continue happening if Bang Bush does not adjust.
Yeah, Tempest is just playing very decisively with their engages. They're playing between the lockdown on the Junkrat with the traps and the boops, and Diablo, Capybara playing that extremely well with all the displacement between those abilities. There's just a lot of separation in the team happening here for Bang Bush. And Nagram might need to like kind of just pull it back a bit. He's got a very defensive composition with the Sergeant Hammer. He needs to be playing a lot more just to peel right now and a little bit less to look for those engages like he was previously.
This is where Sergeant Hammer starts to get stronger, though. Level 7, when she unlocks her level 1, her 7, and her 4, which gives her that unstoppable. Now she can start moving, sieging around. Suddenly, Junkrat can't do those boots as easily. However, Tempest, with them being a full level head over their opponents, they will have their heroics first. Expect some invades, truly.
And also, Junkrat is going with the W build, which is not something that is super typical. Typically, you see the trap talents to make it so that it'll silence or that it'll chase. In this situation, we have the CDR on the boop and the slow, I believe. So it's just an anti-hammer ability. That's purely what it is. It's a counter to hammer. The expectation is that you always hit it, you always get the CDR. So Hammer's going to have to be really on point with those unstoppables if she doesn't want to get just permanently booped away by lockdown on the Junkrat. It's a nice adaptation to see and a nice counter pick.
Yeah, that 40% slow, too. Suddenly, Junkrat because the Siege Hammer, right? He's sieging further away, and Ultras is like, all right, well, I guess to play a little bit more passive. Bottom lane is under control, and Ultras is doing his best here, but this poke is just becoming absolutely annoying. Top lane also starts taking some pressure, too, as Hogger's been doing a great job of beating down onto that wall. Gondor in a position where he can flank in if someone is to overstep. There he goes, jumping straight into the tower. Ultras gets an auto attack off before Gondor retreats, but with this Sapper camp trying to push in, that is their main focus, and they do clear it. 10 is looming for them while the altar is grabbed at 36 to 28 in shots.
Yeah, the XP is also about a level ahead. Typically, you're going to be either trading shots or experience in the early game on Towers of Doom, so to be behind on both is definitely not what you want for Bang Bush.
Not ideal.
For the most part, they should be likely waiting for level 16s to really be able to play their fights how they want to. They really need the percent damage on the Hanzo to be able to take out a Diablo. Kepi does get engaged down here, though, on the top side. It's just a 2v1 with very low damage heroes between the Blaze and the Brightwing. He's kind of just trying to turn it, wait for his E, gets the angle, and does get out.
Yeah, that's the one appeal that Hogger has. If you can go pick up your Rel, he has it unstoppable. So if you're able to play around your E timing and know that cooldown, you usually can escape a lot of fights. And he was able to peel off into his mini wave. Knew Brightwing's not going to do too much damage and be able to get out of there. So Kepi playing that as intelligently as he possibly can. Now, Swampgotha did hit that jet propulsion, perhaps a kill, but that's not what happened.
And this is really not what you expect with Sergeant Hammer, to have the other team, Tempest, here just permanently pushing into your lane. Nagram looking for the engage. They're still not level 10, though, so focusing Diablo is a very difficult task. We'll see if they have enough damage to actually do it. Probably not, as Capybara does get the nice charge out onto Nagram to be able to get that distance and escape.
Man, Capybara is just full health every single fight. He's getting the exact engagements that he wants. What changes this?
Level 16.
Yeah.
Ideally, the percent damage from Skoog is going to be probably the real difference maker here. If he can hit a good scatter on the Diablo against the wall, that's really what they need to be able to kill him, because until level 16, they should mostly just be playing to get some split pressure with the Sergeant Hammer, but this Junkrat with the adaptation seems to be really, really shutting that down and almost completely reversing the matchup.
16 sounds nice and dandy, but that's still 5 levels away. And look at that fort at the top right. It's already lost a third of its HP. It's been sieged down. The bottom lane, which is where Sergeant Hammer wants to be working on breaking down the opposing walls, they've lost their wall, which means they're losing slight protection from future sappers. It's starting to look a little bit rough here. Tempest really playing a better macro game in the early stages here.
I would like to see the Hammer maybe leave this bottom lane and stop contesting into the Junkrat. They have very good stalls. They're not going to be able to get level 13s, though. We'll see if the side of Bang Bush actually wants to take a fight pre-level 13. The expectation is that they just look to stall as long as possible and wait this out. Most likely they lose both of these. They'd like to stall until they can get 13 if possible, though. Capybara getting a little bit caught out. They might have enough damage to take him out, but they do still have the Rhaegar with the sustain. It isn't the Ancestral, though, so not quite the same type of save you'd expect.
Tyre did come out from Junkrat. Siege Tactics was able to provide just a little bit of armor there to make Sergeant Hammer didn't get blown up too much, and Brightwing held that up nicely, but the stall tactic is continuing to occur. Skog bringing out the scatter arrows. Capybara finally gets on top of him, jumps in and drops the lightning breath. Nagram in trouble as Hanzo's had to been saved by a couple of times by Brightwing now, but they are able to get away. Sergeant Hammer charging forward once again. Can Skog find the angle to stop Rhaegar from this channel? He actually stops to do a heal for his teammate. Lockdown low on HP. BFG! He finds a kill!
And just like that, the matchup that looked pretty bad before gets completely negated there. Ultralisk with the big ultimate coming through, crushing the Junkrat. And down 13s there at the start. Bang Bush does manage to get the kill. They do manage to secure the objective. And through this game, they are scaling. The one thing, though, Kepi is just absolutely dominating the side lane. He might be able to force Swamp back and get this whole fort if they don't get a rotation soon from their team.
It sort of feels like Kepi heard us saying, man, Hogger doesn't have that good of a win right here. And he's like, oh, you want to see some Hogger? I'm going to give you some Hoggers. And he's up here running that lane down.
But Skog is here. He'll likely get the spin out. The only way this really goes poorly, probably for Kepi, would be if he were to, miss a spin.
Oh, hang on. Ultralisk gets engaged on with no Hanzo here. That means there's no way to have any damage.
They used the Bloodlust for that, so that's a really big win for Bang Bush. Bang Bush having the more defensive composition that should just slowly be getting the chip damage.
Wait, who used the Bloodlust?
Tempest used the Bloodlust.
KCB!
Oh, KCB.
There we
go. The boy with the Bloodlust.
Sorry, continue your point. I just wanted the opportunity.
Oh, yeah, it's fun to say. We've got the Engager coming out from Bang Bush, trying to look for the invade. This is very dangerous going into Junkrat, especially having the boops over the wall. But Bang Bush is scaling in this game with their composition. Anubarak, very tanky into the Junkrat and the Genji. They're not very heavy auto attack heroes. He's got the spell armor, he's got the shielding. So Nagrum's going to feel very good as this game progresses, and I'm really just waiting for the 16 to see Bangbush start to take these team fights and really be able to win them. It's just how much are they losing here in the off lane, and even in the bottom lane to some extent, not getting any value with their hammer like they'd hope. They're kind of still, I mean, they're scaling, but we'll see how this next objective goes if they're able to stall again for 16s or fight before 16 for Tempest.
Yeah, I feel like this objective right now is like really important, the decision that is made for them. And it looks like they're deciding to stay on the bottom side and attempt to push in for this tower. Here comes a Riptire. Same time.
Skog in trouble.
Skog in trouble. Absolutely deleted. KCB locked into a web. But he doesn't mind too much as the teammates get out. And with Bangbush losing one, those ultras available. Oh my gosh, the ultras are taking more chunk damage. Gondor did one jump in, one auto attack, and one shuriken volley, and it took him down to 1/3 HP.
But Nagrum did get out of here earlier. We'll see if Henning is able to get the stall on Gondor. Gondor's looking to get the stall onto Nagrum. The poly's a little bit late. Nagrum does have the option to just go for the cocoon. He's not going to look for the kill. Swamp coming down. This is a bit of a risk, though. If they don't peel them, they might not get the objective. You have Kepi looking to stall on the top side. He gets another stall off. They had the tools. They may have been greedy. Yeah, they were greedy. They could have used the cocoon. They could have used just the poly. Really good stalls coming out from Tempest. What should have been a just absolute clear advantage for Bangbush in getting the objective here when they were down members. Not looking that way. Tempest forcing it.
Arrow comes out. It's going to be on Kepi. Kepi takes some damage. Unstoppable is away. At the same time, Diablo getting locked down to a fourth of his HP. Bunker also coming up as well. Henning getting low on mana. Might have a tap here on the bottom right, though. Burrow charge forward into engagement, into
Diablo
fire. Capybara is low, but he walks away.
Very close there. And Tempest pushing this. Oh, the BFG. Almost there. You do have bottom going down, though, and top is also extremely low. Not getting those shots immediately for Bangbush being, again, punished. They're going to only get 3 shots instead of the 4 that they could have potentially gotten. Bangbush looking a little bit rough right now, just with those decision makings. They're a little bit flustered.
I think there's only one word right now to kind of vocalize how Bangbush is feeling right now, and that word is ouch. Things are just not quite working out for them. But as you've been alluding to for the last 12 minutes, 16. Massive, and it's about to connect. But Hondo gets booped.
Nice.
No healing on the time as Capybara comes in for the CC. Nagar will be next, down to a 1/4 HP. Here's the spell shield, killing him alive. Cocoon comes out too, but he gets deleted.
Yeah, the body block's perfect, and the traps coming out here from Junkrat. Lockdown on that. Swamp potentially getting fought here in the 1v1. This might be where they take the fort. Likely, Kepi gets it extremely low, but doesn't actually take the fort and waits for the moment before the altars spawn. But just really, really good mechanical play coming out from Tempest. That was just before they were hitting 16s. It was a little bit late. The boop from Junkrat, especially on Ultralisk, just looks so annoying for him. Kepi looking for the 1v1. You do have the Brightwing coming in. Swamp has to E-Way just to get the range. He might turn this around, though, with the Brightwing.
Can they do it? They're looking for it right over to the European team. Kepi trying to go down, getting up as unstoppable. It just came out low on HP, but there goes Hogger, living his best life. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, this pressure from Lockdown and Capybara is just too much. 1, 2, 3 sappers flinging their way to the core.
And that's thanks to the pressure from Kepi in the top lane. Forcing that Brightwing Z gave them a numbers advantage in the bottom lane. They're unable to defend it.
Yep.
3 sappers go in based off of the off lane, and now Kepi likely going to be trying to step forward too in the top lane and get the top fort as well. Before the objective.
This feels like the moment in the game where if Bangbush doesn't get the W, they have to turn it around right now. Top right tower way too low. Kepi keeping up that pressure. Sappers moving on and in. They got to get through this war of attrition in the bottom lane.
If they triple cap here with the top fort down, if they don't manage to get bot back on the side of Bangbush, this could literally be game right now. So Bangbush needs to turn it on, and they need to do it right now.
All right, here we go, straight into the fight here in the top right corner as we're going to see if they're going to be able to get the full engagement. Henning helping out with his DPS. Skog here as well on Gondor. There's an arrow. Impale comes out. Gondor gets deleted. There we go. The team's holding it down. Capybara retreating away, but with no Genji on the field, suddenly the DPS is limited for Tempest.
Yeah, nice scatter there. Gondor not even being able to get his X-Strike off before he goes down there. So very important for Bangbush. This was a moment where they could literally lose the game. Kepi now the target. We're going to see the Shockwave come out trying to peel himself. His E looking for it. Nope, and he just goes down. So another nice pick here coming out from Bangbush when they need to. Capybara unable to get the cap. Nagrum with the cocoon still available. We'll see if anyone is able to step up and try to stall. This is very risky for Capybara as the engage looks. Capybara does manage to get out. The cocoon's still available, though.
But Junkrat, look at that, in the tunnel on the far left. Here comes the Riptire. Ultra's going to deal with it. They do delete it. Nades are there. Someone needs to absorb those nades. Granta in position, standing still for his teammate. Diablo steps up with the Fire Stomp, finds one. Diablo now taking damage, low on HP, down about half, but he's healing up overall. Nagram turns around to stop Rhaegar from getting off any massive heals, but Rhaegar's in a great position to be able to move in. KCB on point.
The stall is still coming out. Swamp Grata actually gets booped over the wall. We'll see if he's able to get out. He needs some help here. As at the same time, Gondar has respawned on the Genji, so they actually managed to stall for Tempest until he's up. They did get the objective. There's not going to be anything clear to fight over. Bangbush still in a 5v4, but Swamp low on mana, and soon Kepi will be back. They still need to get their forts back. Top is very low, can be taken at any moment, and they need to go recover their bot fort, or maybe look for something aggressive of themselves.
Okay, so after that big engagement, a big sigh of relief. Things working out for Bangbush.
Oh, big arrow, though.
Never mind, let's breathe again. A huge
combo.
Burrow charge into an impale. The knockups, Capybara, the big meaty Diablo, getting burrowed into the corner here. Body blocks galore. That's going to be 3 taken out.
That's all the Diablo souls lost right before level 20. That was the absolute perfect time to engage. Skoog hitting the huge 3-man arrow into the burrow charge. Nagram already ready to follow up. Just absolutely phenomenal. Perfect timing by Bangbush, and just perfect understanding of what Tempest is looking to do, too. Tempest knowing they'd be level 20 soon, looking for that invade, and absolutely punished on the side of Bangbush, even forcing Kepi to take this top fort a little bit earlier than he maybe have wanted.
Gosh, that level 16 debilitation coming in. Pretty darn clutch for a new Brack. Tower grab the top right. Bottom left tower being focused up. Here's another web. Web's going to get Junkrat out of there, but can they delete him? Yes, they can.
Capybara might be next.
Keeping up the pressure.
Skoog's taking. Oh, he gets into the bunker as well. Capybara with the Hellgate out. Does manage to escape, but Bangbush with all the momentum right now. This map is just it's so flip-floppy into the late game, and Bangbush with their scaling really pushing that. We're going to see if they're able to get more. Kepi looking to force in objectives, sappers through the top.
But Kepi, the silent assassin, continues his push in the top lane. He owns this place.
Oh, the arrow from
comes out. Jet propulsion. Skog with the damage, trying to burn him. He's hogging out. 400 HP, trying to walk
Kepi with
away,
the fort advantage,
going
though, actually.
for the ultimate. He gets the pick, but at the same time, Gondar comes in and trades a 1-for-1.
Oh, it might be more, though. Gondar still looking. You have the Brightwing. Oh, Brightwing does get the peel. So play is likely to be okay, but that's a huge trade in the top side. Kepi really making plays throughout this entire game, even getting the sappers in with the help of Gondar.
Henning all over the place, moving the top, moving the bottom, using that Brightwing phase shift as much as they can. 23-9 is the score, but that is about to adjust as 4 shots come across the map. 19-9. We got a game on our hands. Here's the problem, though, with all those rotations and with having Hanzo run the top right corner and get picked off. Bottom left fort is available for the taking, and Tempest is going to try and grab it now.
Yep, the map is completely mirrored right now with 3 forts to 3. But you see in the bot side, we do have it engaged, but it's 3v4. Them engaging out. They do have the fort, but not sure if that'll be a good enough advantage. We'll see if they're actually able to defend this. I think that Tempest can definitely get... Oh, but they actually get the big pick onto the Rhaegar. That changes a lot. If Nagram can manage to get out here, he can't. Still, Capybara tanking the fort as well. Ultras does manage to take him out with the auto attack.
Ultras able to get the shot. Brightwing unable to get that phase shift off, but we did see a Nubrak get burned down. But for the main story here is the tower was at least grabbed. But can they keep it up? There's a Genji floating around the side here, and he's looking thirsty for a kill.
Yeah, that was a risky move by Bangbush, opting to actually try to defend this. We'll see if they're going to stay. Ultralisk now in a 1v2. The arrow, though. Watch the arrow coming over from Skoog.
Not quite.
Straight to NA. If Khaldor was here, right?
Oh, wow. There's an arrow as we catch it here in Miami. Ultralisk keeping up with the defense. There goes another boot from Lockdown. He's finally up to help with that siege, and that should be all she wrote on top of this tower as it's taken back. The score right now, 8-10 in kills. Bangbush, who was behind in kills, is now ahead of them. But the issue is the objective is all that matters in Heroes of Storm. It's not a death match. You got to get these altars, and that's their next setup.
And Blaze during that, all of that, able to get top. They do look forward here on the enemy camp. Gondar very low, getting poked out here by Ultralisk. Ultralisk feeling a lot more confident now, it seems, in these fights. You've got the backup now. Right? Yeah, he's stepping forward. It's kind of a frontline Sergeant Hammer. He's the tank after all.
No way, does he move him twice? Again? Okay, they finally get the Sapper camp, and that will move its way to the bottom left fort. Skog is here, and he has an arrow in 13 seconds. He's trying to keep up the auto attacks in those melees. Henning going for the channel. Diablo over here looking threatening, and Henning's like, okay, I need you guys to rotate over now. Ultra shows up, starts the auto attacks. There's Gondar, and he has all of his abilities, so he should be able to get some disruption.
Yeah, this is just tense. You have a lot of flanking angles coming from Tempest, but they are looking for Diablo. He does use the Hellgate to escape, and the fight's just very split right now. It's so hard to engage on Ultras here. You have the arrow coming out from Skoog. Kepi getting extremely low. Oh, the BFG takes him out.
With the help of Hanzo on the
Skoog.
scatter arrows, but still the coordination was exactly there, adjusting, and that's what we needed. Henning's going for the channel.
Ooh, oh, he X-strikes the cocoon. That was disgusting by Gondar.
That was really nutty.
The reaction.
Skog trying to hold the bottom lane and try to get the channel, but with grenades coming in, he's going to have to dodge on that. 4 more shots going in at 15-9. Oh my gosh, this game number 1 is getting closer and closer. Good morning, Miami. My golly.
Yeah, what a fun match, especially here now with the comeback coming in from Bangbush potentially. They did have the scaling, and they were taking quite the beating in the early game. You have to remember just how rough the early game felt for them. Their hammer not getting any value, but things have completely turned around here, all off of the back of that one. That they were in a moment where they could have lost the game not too long ago, around level 15, 16, and them bringing it back, it's really cool to see. And against Sergeant Hammer, it's difficult for Tempest.
Both teams.
Constantly, there's just going to be stuff happening on your side of the map.
Yeah, gotta agree with you. And both teams have not had a chance because there's been so much fighting and so much trading to even look at the boss. And finally, now we get a slight breath. What I love seeing on the mini-map is immediately one person from each team went over to check out the boss. They're just making sure that vision and knowledge is the name of the game here. And it's gotta be when it's on the line like this.
Yeah, it's so intense in this moment. You have Nagram looking for anything he can, but they're currently in a 5v5. This is going to be the first like real fair fight that Tempest has had in quite some time.
Yeah.
So we'll see if Tempest is able to recover, is able to regroup, and look for the engage. But we do have an arrow, again, kind of going wide, but there's no objective up right now. We'll see if it's up in time for the next objective. It's very difficult for Tempest to get a coordinated engage now against the Sergeant Hammer. There's just so many tools, and Diablo is no longer just free to do as he pleases in the front line. Now that they have that % damage coming in, and they just have the ability to really lock down and CC kill anyone pretty much on the front line of Tempest.
All eyes on the bottom left portion of this fort. Tempest slowly trying to burn it down, and they will with the Junkrat, but Ultra's also in a position to make sure that no one else gets close and gets those auto-decks in. Gondor tries to sneak one in with the deflect, but that's going to be a cooldown down. 30 seconds will be the next ult, and if Bangbush can keep up this fort, they'll be in a prime position to try and choke out their opponent on that flank on the top side.
Yeah, this is a very good position to be in for Bangbush. We'll see if Tempest is able to get the engage that they need. Swamp a little bit split here, though. We'll see. They're looking for the pick. They're going to see if they can get it.
They shift. It comes out.
The shockwave's huge into the flame breath and the X strike. Brightwing does go down. Kepi's the next to be potentially focused by Bangbush, but they're on the retreat now. Tempest, this is exactly what they want. They have the Bloodlust running. The Cocoon to peel. Ultralisk getting very low. He's getting ran down. He does get taken out. Scoob might be next. He's extremely low under the fort. Capybara dives in on the Diablo.
And that might be both altars there. Now, it is going to be a total of 6 shots because of the camp down the bottom left, but here's the thing. With 3 members down, Bangbush can turn around and try to grab a couple of these forts and try to win the game with potentially a boss pickup as well. They have so many options. They have fort in the top right corner. It's low. The top left should be taken from them with the minions. They're already looking at the boss right now. It's a good 30 seconds before we have Sergeant Hammer. A good 40 seconds before Han's on the field. Tempest is making a play for the map.
Yeah, Kepi potentially in trouble here. They do opt to look for the pick here. 2v1. We'll see if Kepi's able to get out. The CC is pretty much perfect here from Bangbush. Kepi gets the spin. We'll see if he's able to get out. He stops, gets the knockback. We'll see if Swamp's able to catch him. It might be close, but no, he does manage to get out. They do defend top, though, which is extremely important here.
Yeah.
That means that they're not going to have the extra shot. They're not going to be able to force the potential lethal with the boss. So a big play still by Bangbush, and potentially a misplay by Tempest, not being able to secure that fort in time before they get the cap.
Justin, how sweaty are your armpits right now? They got to be wet. Oh, yeah.
A little bit. They're moist,
He checked, guys. He checked. That was
moist.
an accurate description right there. This is a close match here for game number 1. And this best-of-5 series. 10-5 so far, 23-23. So Grante holding that top lane, which has been a main focus for them. This fort's been underneath half HP for 80% of the game.
Yeah.
Kepi as well has also been low on HP, but still, he's gotten out of every single fight. With all 5 members up for our teams, there is a boss up for grabs. And here's the thing. This gets grabbed, Bangbush goes down to 1, but they're still in the game.
Yeah, they're still in the game, but there is the potential for even a Sapper to end the game at that point. We see Bangbush still contesting. Capybara on the Diablo very far forward. They do have the BFG coming out. We'll see if he's getting engaged on. Bloodlust is used. They're really low on the point right now. Bangbush in the position here. Tempest extremely low. The boss cap is available. Oh, they get booped off. They do get the boss, but at what cost? They might end up losing a lot of members here. They're really low in the fight.
Kabe turns around for the attack. Zogger trying to stay alive, trying to keep himself up. Capybara trying to hold it down. Skog comes in. That's multiple kills, 2 down. Now they did lose their healer, so every chip of damage is going to be aggressive. But Ultralis is standing in a corner, and he's just shelling away. He finds a couple of picks. Vonconte able to retreat. Now Bangbush is low and bruised. They lose the fort in the top right corner, but they still have to grab altars.
The Sappers. During all that, they managed to just barely defend it as well. That was closer than it may have seemed. That was potentially game-ending there if they didn't get the defense there, if they didn't have the mental fortitude to keep their eyes in 2 places at once. And now with 2 objectives spawning, it's 4 versus 3. The position advantage to Bangbush, but this doesn't end with this many forts available.
Exactly.
So this is still a risky position, and if you're going to send someone to grab 1, you don't have your global available, you don't have your Brightwing quite yet. You could see a 3v3 occurring here, which is something that Tempest can still win.
Tempest might actually just give it up. They're going to delay, but they're grabbing the sappers in the bottom right. What they want to do is just get map control, right? They want to keep Bang Bush on the opposing side and maybe set up for the next altar. Damage comes in on Diablo. He's getting focused, and he goes down. He'll be down for a full 60 seconds. Hogger's not even back. Bang Bush has all 5. His Brightwing is able to phase shift in and start healing up our teammates. The stealth also starting to come out as well. Tower shots coming in. Only a measly 2, but it brings him down to 5.
Yeah, Lockdown did manage to get that sapper camp in the bottom to be able to finish off that bottom fort. If you'd only sent 2 of them into the fort, that could have been a very different story, because then there'd be 1 sapper they'd have to deal with. I think that might have been what they were maybe counting on. It was close too, so just really good macro though still by Tempest. 5-1 in shots. This is about as close as it can possibly be. We're going to see Bangbush trying to take their forts back, and maybe Tempest can get a pick during that.
Kepi comes in. Scouts him out with the scatter arrow. Had he gone with the flank, he may be able to knock back someone. Maybe Brightwing in particular would be a great prime target. They saw Sergeant Hammer on the top right, already working on that fort. But we have a few moments here to breathe as Sappers gets grabbed and everyone sets up for the next potential last fight.
Yeah, a moment of a patience here for Bangbush, where they're going to get to just chill a little bit, make sure they're not getting picked. That's kind of the big thing for them as they slowly start taking back their structures. But Tempest still looking to take the aggression, looking for the bottom side here. Going to see if they can force these sappers in through bottom. You have Ultralisk on the top side. He's got a ways to run with Hammer. He doesn't have a mount. He's a slow way down from top. So we'll see if Tempest is able to capitalize on that rotation time.
I'm taking a breath. Breathing in. And both teams should do the same thing. Next fight for the altar could be something that keeps Tempest in it. Remember, it's only going to be 4 shots, but if Tempest is able to grab it, Bangbush is going to lose game 1 here. They're going to set up.
Fight.
Everyone's stepping up, stealthing up the Anubrak, making it hard for him to be seen. Capybara on the bottom right as well.
He's got the flank position. They're all looking at Ultralisk right now.
Yeah.
They're waiting for their moment. They need to force an engage and be very clean with it, because as soon as they fail an engage, Bangbush should win the fight in a slow, steady, just whittling down of health bars.
Trying to dismantle the opponent, just finding someone that might slightly be out of position.
And the tanks too, keeping their eyes on the objective as well. They want to play towards that objective so they can control that space. You can't fight too far away from that, or you can get just pulled off and potentially have someone backdoor the objective during this as well.
Looking at the map, there's no sappers anywhere. Gondor goes in with a jump, dashes away. Capybara taking a nice beating, jet propulsion in. There's some oil set up. Both teams moving in for the fights fully here.
Kepi in the flank position as well right now. He's very split from his team. We'll see if that is a good thing or a bad thing. That's a very high-risk position to be in for Kepi. Maybe he looks for the spin in. Skog starting to force the channel just to be able to create some pressure. He does get Diablo to step forward, and Diablo takes an absolute beating here. He's likely to look to see if he can go get the tap at the fountain, but that's a pressure advantage for Bangbush, trying to get the cap during this 5v4 to get the pick onto Kepi potentially.
He gets the engage, but able to get out. The Bloodlust comes in. This is now a 5v4 as Hanzo gets taken out, but it's a 1-for-1 train. KCB has been taken out. Nagram turns around, gets the web. Kepi low and bruised, trying to be helpful for his team, but he might overstep. Lockdown by himself as well, bringing out the grenades. Vamgrana trying to chase him down, and it looks like the Europeans have set up very well. Ultralisk, meanwhile, needs a tap.
All in all, just a 1-for-1. Teams are going to be looking to tap while also stalling the objective here. Capybara on the Diablo is extremely low. He's going to be waiting to regen as much as possible. You have the engage on the Kepi. The follow-up from Nagram. Ultralisk doing the damage, but Gondar jumps on top of Ultralisk. We'll see if he's able to take him out. Capybara goes down as well. Bangbush with 2 kills.
That's 3 down. That's 3 down, Justine.
Yeah.
That is 3 currently taken down from the team. Hello. That's 3 taken down for the team as we head straight into the match here, and we start working on the 4 in the bottom left. Lockdown's trying to go for the channel, trying to sneak it, but Nagrum is able to handle it. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, there's a 4. This should be game. This should be it. Ultra's starting the auto attack. There is Genji and Junkrat. They are prime delayers, but they have to delay for 30 seconds to have a chance.
Yeah, 2v5 for quite some time. Not sure if they're going to be able to pull it off. They get the bottom fort. That's 5 shots for them. If they manage to get this, that's enough to win the game.
Where's Webb?
Nagram's going forward here. Gondar jumps forward.
Genji getting focused. The polymorph. There it is. KCB is up next. People are here. That's going to be a pick. Rhaegar in trouble. Justin, have they done it?
Let's go. They've done it. Look at them. That's incredible comeback by Bangbush. They were down so much to come back.
Wowzers! With that, Tempest was up a massive lead, but Bangbush with pure back row in the late game, able to come back, good coordination, layering up the CCs, and the European team goes up 1-0 over the #1 seed from Korea, Tempest.
Absolutely ridiculous by Bangbush, understanding when they're strong as soon as they're in that position. At level 16 where their backs are against the wall, they were in a position where if they lose that team fight, they potentially lose the game.
Dude.
So just nuts comeback from Bangbush.
Can you imagine being Tempest right now? That is such a demoralizing loss. I mean, it's Towers of Doom, so it's kind of expected that kind of stuff to happen. Did you put an EU on that, Khaldor? You sure did. Look at this man. Oh my God, that is a rough loss. 135,000 damage done by Sergeant Hammer. Junkrat on this side did 98,000 as well. That was a war of damage, a war of positioning, a war of flanks, just war, war, war.
Yeah, that was incredible. And for Ultralisk, that looked like such a miserable early game as well. The Junkrat counterpick seemed to be really working just to completely shut him down. We saw him getting booped away pretty much every time he was in range in the early game. And to be able to have the mental fortitude to be able to pull it together when you really need to for Bang Bush, especially at LAN, when nerves are controlling so much, it's really a good thing to see for them to have that, to be able to be still calm and cool and collected when you're down, when everyone knows that if you lose the next fight, you lose the game, and to be able to just pull it out and just completely smurf it like they did is really impressive in the late game.
Well, that means we will be going to game 2, because remember, we are in a best-of-5 series. We're waiting to see what exactly Tempest wants to do. Remember, they have the option to choose first pick or, of course, the map. My assumption is going to be choosing first pick. You want to make sure that you get that foundation, that 1 through 3 on your characters and set yourself up to move forward. Because, honestly, if you're a Tempest, while that might be a demoralizing loss, if you sit down and think about it for a second, our early game and our mid game was great if you're Tempest, right? You're like, we were controlling it well. There was that moment where there had to be a momentum swing, and they nailed that perfectly. That's something that's kind of hard to do on Towers of Doom, but they nailed it. So he's going to game number 2. You keep that pressure. That kind of option isn't as easy on other battlegrounds. So we just need to chill out, relax, and move into game number 2. While at the same time, Bang Bush, you keep that momentum up. You stay focused. You stay laser focused here. You do not make mistakes against Tempest and get on the same page.
Yeah, things I'd like to see, maybe not the Bloodlust coming out from KCB. I think that was a KCB. I think the B stands for Bloodlust, perhaps, but I think the Ancestral would have made a big difference there in that game. Capybara on the Diablo was really struggling, and that's not what you want to see when that's your first pick for Tempest. They first picked the Diablo, and Diablo really struggling into the comp of Bang Bush. So we'll see if the teams are looking to switch that up.
That's actually been a trend throughout the entire weekend. Bloodlust with Genji in particular. It seems like the Koreans find that to be incredibly strong, and it has worked out. In the past there, though, you could tell that if you focus that tank and you get it properly managed and you watch out for any flanks coming your way, it'll be a big ordeal. Now, with that being said, it could still be okay if you take out a Sergeant Hammer, right? They need to remember that Bang Bush is willing to pick the Sergeant Hammer, and that is something that has floated throughout the entire weekend for our European teams.
Yeah, I would expect Sergeant Hammer to be at least banned in the second rotation from Tempest. I think until you play against a good Sergeant Hammer team, you don't really respect just how obnoxious Sergeant Hammer can be. Especially, it's not just the Sergeant Hammer. Ultralisk played it phenomenally, but it's also about the way that your team supports you. You kind of need to have a team that's willing to just create the zone of safety around you and sort of just play around you to make sure that you're safe, because you're permanently getting value just constantly. So it's very, very oppressive to play against the Sergeant Hammer.
It really, really is. All right, guys, we're getting ready for game number 2. I just want to take a second to say thank you again for being with us the entire weekend. This is what it's all about: competition, community, everyone coming together. For me personally, like, this has kind of helped level me out, and like I wouldn't say hatred, but disappointment with the last couple of years, and just being able to come out and have a weekend and smile. We hope that comes through on this entire cast, because we've all enjoyed ourselves. I mean, Justin as well.
I'm having a blast.
This is my first time actually like having conversations with Justin. I thought he was a rager because I only knew him through Twitter, but we met in person. This guy is incredibly sweet and a great person, and you know, it's hard to remember that it is people behind the screens, you know. And so we hope that's coming through and you guys are enjoying yourself. Later on, we will be having a giveaway on these banners I'm floating around. I've actually asked Khaldor if I can actually have a banner to show on stream. They're massive. They're huge. Like, they would go over my door.
They're very cool.
They're very big, and the cool thing too is you can let us know which one you like, and if there's a preference between people, we'll try to do our best to accommodate. And I think we're gonna do that giveaway on the second map. Do you think the second map we'll start doing the giveaway? Okay, so after the second map, before we go into break, I'll remind everyone, all you have to do is type in chat. If you are a subscriber, you'll have a better chance at winning, of course. And I think you should sub. It's been a wonderful 3 days weekend. This is people who are coming together, working hard to put on a good job for you. It's $5. You had a wonderful 3 days. That's $1.50 a day. And honestly, it helps out Khaldor, too. Khaldor's been kind of, well, carrying the seat on his back, if you will, for the last couple of years. And we want to make sure that he's able to continue to do it, as well as all the people that are here. So drop those subs if you will. And if not, at least drop a 7 in the chat, because I love seeing some 7s.
Everyone loves seeing 7s in the chat.
7's a good 7. It's a good number. It's just like, it visually is pleasing, and if you add an O in front of it, it looks like someone's saluting.
That's honestly, that's my favorite of all, like of all the weird gamer emoticons. Is just him with the salute.
It looks like Tempest is actually taking their time on the map here. They seem to be really thinking about what they want to pull off. What do you think would be a good map for Korea?
I mean, with the way that game went, maybe they can look for a map where they can try to have some offlane value, where the offlane can matter a little bit more. That was the big thing through the early game, that Kepi was really dominating Swamp Grotto on the Blaze versus the Hogger. So potentially they could be looking to take them to a map where they can get a lot of value from that. Even like Dragonshire, we saw Diamond Hands getting the backdoor through top. It's not normally the strongest lane, but it's so far, and in the late game it matters more. So we could see something like that. I know in general, Korea is really a fan of Dragonshire, so somewhere like that could be a good way to take them, especially with Bangbush playing really well together, but it felt like through the early game when they had to be split up, they maybe weren't doing as well into Tempest. That seems to be a lot more like coordinated in these small skirmish early game fights.
I like the way your brain thinks. That's what I was thinking too, because usually when it comes to Korea, I would say, let's go to BOE. They stomp in team fights, right? But the team fights on Towers of Doom when we got to the mid to late game looked actually in the favor of Bangbush. One thing that I heard from another analyst that was here, he was talking to some of the Koreans, and I got to overhear some of the conversation. The Koreans were like, it's weird. North America and Europe just aren't running it down on us. They're actually like playing a little passive, and it's frustrating. Like, they're waiting for us to make mistakes. It's not an element that we're used to being in. And so things like that is starting to give that tide of a swing in the team fits. Because I was wondering as well, I was like, does Korean just feel off a little bit? And they're like, no, the playstyle just feels off compared to what we've faced in the past.
Yeah, and that's really interesting because Korea in general has had a very rigid meta. They've had a very standard playstyle for quite a long time, where they pretty much always play a stun tank. Traditionally, it was things like Muradin or ETC or Diablo. And then they'd always have just the instant follow-up, and that was kind of the way they played. So the Genji is really strong for that. I'm surprised we haven't seen as much stuff like Li Ming, which was always a staple from them, because the way that they played was wait for you to make a mistake, play calm. As soon as the 1cc lands, they just instantly blow up one target. And then if they have resets, they play for their resets, like we've seen with the Genji, like we've seen in the past with the Li Ming. So I'd like to see them maybe play more of that type of stuff.
There's like around Saturday, my brain just started like thinking about heroes that we haven't seen in forever, because there's like 80, 90 on the roster, right? Like Chin's been missing, Li Ming's been missing.
Murky hasn't been picked.
I mean, that I get.
Cho
like, I
or
made amends with Murky, I think, like 3 years. You know, I woke up morning, I was like, I gotta stop asking. Just sometimes in life, you gotta give up on your dreams, you know, so you can work on other dreams.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
It's sad,
that got,
but like,
yeah, I see.
It got sad,
you got
like,
me for a second there.
Yeah, it's like it's an up and down, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's like, you know what, this dream I give up, so I can work on this dream, right?
Yeah.
And so now I'm working on the Ragnaros one, and that one's been a 4-year journey. But I think around like year 7, we'll finally get that.
Yeah.
But
once the Ragnaros rework comes in, he's going to be an absolute unit.
Yeah, I really hope the janitor has time for that, because that man really needs to get those reworks out a little bit
He's been writing
faster.
reworks on the chalkboard and the.
He's like mopping. He's like, I got dreams, man. The Ragnar's gonna be sick, dude. He'll also clear Smash on his queue. That way everyone does lose a lot of
They
weight.
hired the janitor. He thought he was just doing a Leoric cosplay this whole time. He's like just really dedicated to it.
Really into
started
it.
cleaning everything.
He's like, I love this. I actually just clean stuff so I can think about the game. It's a very calming thing. Yeah, so back to the original question before we went on that tangent. What happened to Li Ming? Do we think it's just a little bit too hard? She doesn't really do that much damage to tanks?
I think that's probably what it is the tanks right now just don't really care that much about Li Ming. Like Diablo, for example, he's got a spell shield on level 1, which seems to be just every single game you pick that. And, I mean, he gets 75 spell armor. He has, like, 8,000 HP with souls at level 20. I think that's the main thing, is that it's such a focus the tank meta right now that if your kit doesn't have percent damage, it's very, very difficult to get through these beefy tanks. Even, like, Johanna doesn't care. That's why, like, the only real mage we've seen in the whole event was the Jaina. I think Hasuab's likes playing the Jaina, which that makes sense because she's a mage, she does burst damage, but she's also like just overloads you with damage, sustained damage dealer that can focus the tanks.
And she actually works on the whole wave clear and whatnot, which kind of helps set that up. And you need wave clear in order to set up flanks, which is where Jaina excels. I remember K1 from North America was one of my first favorite Jainas to watch because he was so all about the flanks. Yeah, and it's like, you would try to do that in your own games, and you just end, and you're like, I hate your team, why didn't you help me? But like K1 makes it look beautiful while also not needing his team. All right, so it sounds like we're getting a few things set up. Just a quick update for you guys. Always want to be honest. There's a few things being rebooted and whatnot to make sure that we're set up to run this entire show, and we'll be moving forward with that and getting into game number 2. So right now, it's just adjusting and Trickster podcast. What do you want to talk about?
How about food?
Sandwich?
Have you eaten food before?
No. Have you
That's how I do
delved
small
in
talk.
nutrition?
Have you tried eating?
Have you? Oh, our production actually wants us to get involved with Cuban food. Have you ever had a Cuban-based meal?
I'm not sure. Do you know what that would entail?
I've had. It's a Conde Monte Cristo. Is that Cuban? Absolutely not. Absolutely. I think I offended someone actually. Give me a meal that is Cuban. Rice, beef, and lamb. I have actually had all of those. I think I've had them together in some way or some form. So yeah. Have you ever had rice, bean, or plantains?
Yes, I have, and they were quite enjoyable. In fact,
They were delicious. I
Delicious.
remember them exactly.
I think I had those right when we landed here.
Yeah.
Across from the hotel, there's a place we got some food.
Heck yes. I had a wonderful tomato basil wrap with mozzarella, panini, and just smashed into heat.
You
It
had
was
that next door?
flat, It was tasty. It was $3.
Oh wow,
I'm from California. Do you know how much that would have cost in California?
like $15.
$17, and they would
Yeah.
put 25% gratuity on top of that.
Yeah, that's rough.
And I'd probably get kicked on the way out, too.
They beat you up. You get mugged on
It's a rough life out there, honestly. They tell you to close your windows and not leave anything in the car. It's very surprising when I went down. Bit of a culture shock for a Midwest boy. So
It's been weird being here. Just the humidity. 'Cause
Oh, yeah.
I've been living in Wisconsin and then Texas, and it's
Like-
not like this. Like we got here and it was raining, and
Yeah.
I felt all sweaty off the flight. Like you get off a flight and you feel kind of gross. I went and took a shower and I was like, I feel more dirty now.
yeah,
Like,
Florida has that water surrounding, right? So like the heat going up, and then what people would call humidity. I don't even call it humidity. I just call it like water skin.
Ground sweat.
You know? Yeah, it's just like you feel like you're in like a slight perspirating mode the entire time. And everyone that lives in Florida is like, you get
you're
used to it.
swimming around.
Yeah, you get used to it, but like
Yeah, that's
you-
not so bad now. It's just the first day we had like crazy rain too, and
Yeah. And production's like it rains every single day, and which I think I've actually seen that. I've been up to Universal and Orlando, which are not resorts, theme parks that are down here, and you'll be like hanging out with Hagrid or whatever. Why did I say Hagrid? He just died. You'll be hanging out with Professor McGonagall or whatever, and then suddenly it's like some big storm comes in. And it's like everyone just needs to hide for a little bit. That's the Florida life. Okay, it looks like we do actually have our lobby popping up, and it's going to be Garden of Terror for our second map, which has been a very a map that's been all about scaling, right? A lot of our teams have been playing very, very coordinated, and it seems like there's a kind of a set meta to make sure you get to that level 20.
yeah. The main thing with Garden is just there's so many camps that it almost feels like the modern day Blackheart's Bay, where you really need to be able to do camps and you need to be able to do them quickly. Sylvanas also has seemed to just be so valuable on this map because of all the camps.
Yeah.
She really empowers just a 3-man, 4-man death push. So getting the Sylvanas, just getting camps pretty much on cooldown, and it's just that kind of dynamic of, do you want to sort of just base race and split the map, or do you want to have a gank squad that can completely stop that in its tracks, or are you going to just have a defensive comp that can just stop them from ever pushing? There's just so many ways that you can go about it, but it really feels like the camps are almost the objective here, as it takes such a long time to finally get that big payoff. It's kind of like Cursed Hollow with a little bit stronger objective into the late game.
I mean, to add on top of your point there, Greymane is someone that we've seen a few times on this map as well, which is interesting because Greymane used to be such a focus, especially for a lot of Korean teams back in the day, and he's kind of just been sprinkled in here and there, and it's pretty obvious. He has his weaknesses. There's more chip damages currently in the game than there used to be.
His
and
range,
he's having
too.
healing. His range is a little
It
weird,
feels
too.
risky to play Greymane.
Yeah, and then you don't feel like you have that like major range advantage until level 20 when you get blunderbuss, but at that point, like, are you losing the game? And then you have to like make up for his weaknesses, which has been done through double support, which isn't as strong as it used to be with macro being such a focus. All right, here we go. Game number 2. Tempest will be taking on Bang Bush. The number 1 seed versus the number 2. Bang Bush from Europe is currently up 1-0. Can they earn another W, or will Tempest earn a tied series?
I'm excited. I'm really curious about the draft here after going against the Sergeant Hammer. We'll
Sure.
see if Tempest felt that was a problem. And also, first picking the Diablo and having it get punished. I think Skoog on the Hanzo in particular was really the one who was punishing the Diablo, and also the one who was pretty much responsible for such a snowball in that last game. He had that humongous arrow on the invade right before level 20. There were those 2 crucial moments in that game that completely flipped it around. So Skoog on the Hanzo is something I'm going to be looking out for, and Capybara, whether he's willing to take that Diablo. Even the Rhaegar, if they want to prioritize that. It didn't seem like it worked out for them quite so well in the last game, so
Sure.
I'm curious what types of adjustments are going to be going into this game.
Kerrigan, Tyrael banned away. Tyrael actually is a little bit better on this map compared to most. I would say like Cursed Hollow, this battleground, maybe BOE you can make a case for. He's powerful on because you're able to push with the plant terrors, and then of course you drop down the sanification and just work for a fort keep. You can be a little bit more bold with your movement with the objective, so I understand that one. It's also one that we see pretty decently in Europe as a nice flex pick. And then of course the Kerrigan, which I just kind of hope someone will let that seep on through at some point. A Kerrigan pick would just be the cherry on top of a wonderful weekend.
Yeah, the Kerrigan's something we pretty much never see, so to see it first banned is a lot of respect towards Ultralisk. Hanzo is going to be denied here, so no Skoog Ultralisk like we saw in the no Skoog Hanzo like we saw in the last game. They do still go with the Rhaegar. I would expect it to be the Ancestral this game. It feels bad to not have the level 20 Ancestral. It feels like such a strong ultimate. The Genji is banned away, so no Genji going to be there for the Tempest, for their sort of dive style. You do have the Hanzo arrow for engage. You have the Diablo. Potentially could see the APOC, but we probably won't. It's pretty much not a meta anymore. And Hammer banned away. That makes sense. But right now, I think Bang Bush still in a very, very good position in the draft. Getting the Brightwing and the Blaze kind of just covers. It's safe. There's no counters really to it. So you're chilling if you're Bang Bush.
We've seen from Bang Bush a triple melee composition. I don't know if that would be one that you want here. It gives you a lot of sustain, buys me more time for Brightwing to get our phase shift up, and also can help out around the altars. But what I worry about is that late game prowess. There's Sylvanas, though, as you mentioned in the pre-draft, and Johanna will be the 4th pickup for Bang Bush.
Yeah, I love this for Bang Bush. They have the Sylvanas to be able to enable the pushes on this map with the camps in the early game on Garden of Terror. They also have Johanna, which is one of the few tanks with wave clear. Diablo's going to contribute almost nothing to that. And Blaze is very, very difficult to siege into if you're on the other side trying to group up with your camp and push. Right now, I'm really liking what Bang Bush has. And there's no potential from Genji to be coming in as they banned it. This is looking quite good. Gondar on the Maiev, though, might change things up a bit. He was an absolute just massive high impact player earlier, and Ultralisk with the Malthael.
Wow, didn't even think about it. He was like, I'm going to pick Death, and he picks Malthael. And he showed Malthael twice in his last series.
Yeah,
and
they played against 30K and completely farmed him with it.
that guy knows how to thread a needle. He gets to the back line, and you're like, oh, that's probably not the call. There's a weird pocket there. But he's like calculated all the cooldowns, and he's like looking you in the face. He's like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And then he just destroys you.
Yeah, you'd think he's made to kill tanks, but he's diving your backline with his percent damage. It's not the playstyle you come to expect from Malthael.
Malthael now Assassin in Heroes of the Storm. That was the update that we all needed. All right, Garden of Terror. Bang Bush up 1-0 currently over Tempest, looking to try and grab that 2-0. All right, as always, Justin, because you have a smart brain, what draft is your favorite?
Ooh, so I'm going to call for Bang Bush draft. But it's definitely closer this time than the last game. I feel that the last game draft was a little bit more lopsided than this one. I think this one's about more even.
All right. End of the match we go. Here we go. Game number 2. The audience also super excited for this match. Let's hop on in. To the far left, Tempest, the number 1 seed from Korea, down 0-1 to Bang Bush. It's going to be KCB on Rhaegar, Kepi on Hanzo, Gondar on Maiev, Lockdown on Leoric, and Capybara on Diablo.
And Bang Bush. We've got the 2nd seed from EU here representing them. We have Nagram playing Johanna, Ultralisk the Malthael, Henning playing the Brightwing, Skoog playing Sylvanas, and Svampgarada playing the Blaze. As the teams are meeting up here in the center, we have Johanna giving the mid wave. So if you don't think you can win the level 1, which against Maiev you likely can't, it's a good strategy here to just give it and be able to be prepped for the other side lanes. That's what Bang Bush is doing, so smart macro out the gate.
Awesome. So here we go. 1-1-3 setup, and this is a game that I would advise to people that are watching to put a seatbelt on, buckle up, get in the car. We're going on cruise control for a little bit, unless someone makes it over. So just kidding, Swamp God, go straight on in. And Dustin, just kidding. Put the seatbelt back on. It was aggressive, but we're not in a car crash.
It was just a test. It was just the test dummy. Svampgarada.
I like to call those love tests. Did you say test dummy? Oh my gosh, that was a great reference. Yeah, the test dummies and the car crashes. Yeah, you just make sure you can handle it.
Yeah.
Look at it.
Look at the respect here. But I'm pretty sure Ultralisk wins this matchup. It was actually an evil ploy coming out from Ultralisk and Skoog. Skoog's having none of it.
When that happens to you against an opponent and they bait you into that.
Oh, the disrespect.
Do you feel bad about it? Are you like, do you get angered?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I feel like that happens often in pub games where you're like just hanging out with your guy, you're dancing in lane, and then someone comes up and he's just trying to win, and it's not. Yeah,
you just did that to me?
That's devastating.
It's a challenge. It's like a gladiator arena at that point, right? Like you go full Spartacus.
B-steps are just like the gentleman's BM in this too.
Yeah,
they're like an ancient thing now that sprays exist though.
Chip on the shoulder, man. Gotta have him. Gondar steps up. He will have the tether. This will be the first 9 camp. We're going to grab the wall here, which will be a considerable trend for our teams. Nagram steps up and is just trying to focus down that spell aura on the back. The resistance is just a bit too powerful. But meanwhile, with this push in the bottom lane, Skog is able to scout on the top lane, and Leor's going to be able to handle that. So Granta locked into the corner, body blocked into the tethers, trying to stay alive, and he actually gets burned down. Great usage there of using the walls against Bang Bush, but this top lane is looking deadly
Yeah, they do manage to get the kill on a Blaze there, but I'm not sure that's going to matter. Ultralisk on his mount, getting towards Lockdown. Lockdown really struggles to be here in this matchup. He's likely to get taken down. He does have the Wraith Walk, but he's just going to run around, get back in position so he can respawn faster, likely. Try to get what last siege damage he can. Lockdown living a long time, actually. Starting to tank the tower. He might actually go down, and he does.
Oh, my God.
Lockdown, doing as much as possible. That was definitely an outplay. I thought he was just trying to get as much value as possible from the trade.
Yeah.
But really well played.
You're just at a disadvantage, right? And you're just like, you know what? I'm going to take what I can. You're going down with me.
I mean, he's playing Leo how I do, where I'm full. I die 17 times, but we win the game, and I'm like, that was me.
Yeah, you just ignore that. You like finish the game, it's still on the gray screen. You're like, oh, me, guys.
Yeah, that was me.
I really relate to that, so I'm glad other people do that as well. Now, here's the issue, though, with it all being said and done. Top lane 4 is killed, which means now you're suddenly in a position where you're going to have that catapult coming occasionally through that lane. It's going to be a little bit more pressure on you. But what is amazing about that pressure is now Leoric has to have his focus in that lane, no matter what. Sylvanas will be able to rotate to different lanes with mercenary camps and potentially peel off this map slowly but surely, which could speed up that ramp up to level 20.
Yeah, all things considered, definitely a lot better for Bangbush. Bangbush looking for Kepi here in the bot side. He does have to jump over the wall. Swamp Grotto not likely to have the damage. Skoog coming in, but he'll probably be here a little bit too late. Nagrim still looking on the flank here, but Kepi, knowing something's up, backing up a bit. Going to get scouted there by the Diablo anyways. And Ultralisk against Lockdown in this top side is just an absolute Ultralisk favored matchup. It's a very miserable matchup for Leoric. As soon as you see the spooky hand coming out, you can just blink as Ultralisk to dodge it. It's nearly an unwinnable matchup for Leoric. So there's going to be a lot of just benefit gained through that alone. But they also have the Sylvanas on the side of Bangbush. So most of Bangbush's early strategy should just be to get as much macro as possible in, because once it gets to level 20, which is far from now, but it's likely, Tempest composition is probably going to be a little bit stronger in the actual 5v5.
Yeah, the double jump too, really great from Maiev. Just be slippery. We saw that from Kier last night. Seed available for the taking. One's currently already in the favor of Tempest. Bangbush looking to try and grab this one, but with the Sonic Arrow coming out from Hanzo and the Poke and Scatter Arrows, it will be a difficult task. Skog on the bottom, but Gondor was hiding in the corner. He was being a sneaky little boy there. Tries to go in for the tether. Skog able to walk away thanks to that haunting wave.
Yeah, you see Lockdown trying to get the engage here onto Swamp Grotto. You have Capybara behind. They might actually start a fight here. They kind of, if they can fight around objectives on the side of Tempest, that's really what they want outside of macro, because their macro is a lot worse in the early game. So they want any fight they can possibly get. They get the crush into the wall into Nagram. The Z from right wing does land in time. Lockdown getting chunked away in the backline, though, on the Leoric. He might go down to Ultralisk. He likely does. He still has the dot on him. He does take him out. So a 1-for-0 overall. Bangbush still in control here, but the stalls are coming out.
This feels like adjusting Leoric, right? It's gonna.
You're
the sacrificial lamb.
He's scaling. He's getting vision right now for the team.
It's huge. It's massive.
He's going to slow them as well.
Well, Maiev on the right, waiting for the opportunity, goes over, gets a harassment, Swamp Grotto low on HP, Lockdown comes out, Jeff Propulsion afterwards, Joanna goes in the back line with the condemn, pulls him on in, but they're looking nice and healthy. Meanwhile, Swamp Grotto is taking a beating here.
He's pretty split right now as well. Yeah, he gets the pull in, and Capybara gets the charge. That's going to be a dead Swamp Grotto on the Blaze.
And that Leoric trait value, we're memeing it, but like legitimately, that is massive.
And you have comeback experience based on, to some extent, the amount of times you die. So I actually think I'm not trolling, it's actually a valid strategy. You're getting value by just existing 24/7. I don't go back on Leoric. I literally will just go in and die if my cap's not available, because you're constantly getting value. I'm not trolling at all.
You don't have to convince me. I'm a merchant player.
Absolutely.
I get it. 19
It's actually unironic trait value. As the game progresses, too, he's scaling. At level 20, he's going to be an absolute unit.
Well, 10 connect here first for Tempest, 3-2 in kills so far. Those 2 kills were only on Leoric here for Bangbush. They have yet to find anything in terms of value on the other 4 members for Tempest. A 3rd seed is up and available, and Tempest is in a position to walk over and start dealing with it. The only issue is that fort in the top left that was really annoying earlier now has a night camp, so Leoric has to work on that.
And the objective slightly on the side of Bangbush, like slightly in their favor for now. The 10s do come in. We have the last rights, which is going to put a lot more kill pressure onto the Diablo. Again, we see the Bloodlust as well, which I think is a very strange choice. Ancestral can be slightly countered by Malthael with the Touch of Death if he were to choose to take it, but he didn't choose to take it. So it's a little bit strange choice to see no Ancestral. Level 20, very strong, but again, the Bloodlust, so Tempest looking for one fast kill.
Yeah, I see what you're saying about the Bloodlust. On the other side, though, there's not really that amazing of a disengage for Bangbush. Sure, they have the bunker, but you hop into the bunker, and when everyone's Bloodlusted and everyone has an auto attack on that thing, it gets deleted really, really quickly. So maybe Tempest believes that their team fight will be so swift and their comms are so good they can make it work it out. And to be honest, we've been seeing Greens picking the Bloodlust in like 80% of the game. So
yeah,
totally get what's coming in there. I see what you're saying as well. We'll see if Diablo's going to get that focus till later on, as they have Swamp Grotto locked into a corner here, able able to drop down a little bit of damage. Here's a fake hit. Dim goes in, lockdown, taking the damage. He gets locked down. There's the last right, and there's a pick. Ultra's holding that back left corner, and Diablo just spinning on the top, but he's not really hitting anyone at the same time. We have a massive arrow coming out.
Huge arrow coming out as we have the turn here from Swamp Grotto getting the big stun. Jet propulsion. Gondar extremely low as well. It's Tomb going down. Bangbush still healthy here. On the side, EU looking really strong. That was a 3-for-0 in that fight. They needed that as well. They were down 2-0 in the plants. That's huge for Bangbush.
Yeah, they definitely wanted to also make sure they grab that seed. So it's now 2-1 in scoring the seeds. And look at that experience. I swear, Garden of Terra, the pros are so good at this map that you don't really see a massive leave pulled away in any way, shape, or form. And that should continue to be the trend. Lockdown and Capybara. And in position 2, look at Malthael, but with the Brightwing there, it would be pretty yellow vibes to force that fight.
Yeah, the Malthael pick here has been just absolutely critical, too, in the team fights. They're against this big melee-heavy composition.
Sure.
Hanzo, not really what you want to be able to punish a Malthael. Typically, Malthael struggles heavily into just good sustained damage, ranged double damage dealers. And having just one on the Hanzo is really not enough to keep Ultralisk in check, so I'm really going to be focusing on him quite a bit in these team fights. He did get a stack on his ultimate, too, on the Leoric in the last fight. So he's going to be stacking up that CDR, being able to get a lot more picks with that last right as the game progresses.
Gotta call out Kepi today. He's playing really well, though. Last game was Augur. This game he's playing Hanzo. Already at 35,000 damage. The only one close to him is going to be Malthael, which some would argue might be inflated damage because he does get a lot of one trades at 21,000. Condemn comes out. Gondar able to sneak away just in time. One turret will fall while this giant camp does get cleaned up. And with a third seed popping up for a spawn, Bangbush has to make the decision of trying to delay this or deal with the plant terror push heading in all their lanes.
Yep, both teams even, both levels 13, both having all of their ultimates available. We'll see if Bangbush commits to this heavily, as this is a potential plant phase for the side of Tempest if they win this fight.
Delay is going to be massive here from Grante.
Oh, big charge forward.
It's on Hanzo. Last right comes out, and he's down. He throws out his arrow, but that is 2 taken from Tempest as Bangbush is having clean team fights.
Absolutely clean engage by Bangbush. Instant deletion onto the Hanzo. He tries to jump over the wall, but the last rights follows you. And that ties up the seeds 2-2 for Bangbush. They've got a 5v3 for quite a while here. We'll see what they're able to get. If they're able to get some siege, they do have the Sylvanas with the trait value. We'll see if they can get mid-fort, potentially get some damage on it. Otherwise, they've got people in the side lanes. This is going to be an XP advantage for Bangbush, and potentially a level 16 going into the plant phase with 2-2 in seeds.
Let's see if I can get this team fight over time. Yes, it was. Leor came out with that. We saw the full engagement, of course, immediately after where they peeled everyone away. Love seeing the peel, and then Skog, of course, with the channel is going to get them that additional seed. Missed out on the Hanzo rail, but that's okay. The Giants and crew are available here for Tempest, but with them losing that fort in the middle and the top, suddenly the first layer of defense, that speed bump of defense is not there, and everything that usually is routine becomes more terrifying.
Yeah, we'll see if Bangbush is able to get their camps to be timed with this objective phase, because they can get a lot of value here. Tempest is going to ideally want to stall out for level 16. 16s are going to come in for Bangbush, and if Bangbush has enough macro on the map, Tempest won't be allowed to stall. So Bangbush in an absolute power position here. Tempest is going to have to either try to stall the objective until they're level 16, while they're going to be taking value, losing value in the side lanes likely, or they're going to have to just force a fight quickly. We'll see if they're able to make it happen. Bangbush wants to fight quickly, if possible, before 16.
Gets the tether, pulls it from Grante. There goes the passive. Same time, Johanna stepping up. They clear out the camp on the bottom right and win the Mercenary War. Brightwing rotating in as well with Malthael, and this is a 3-3 seed, 16 up and available for Bangbush. And as you mentioned, they want the fight. Grante holding the bush, but not finding the angle. Tempest playing as well.
They need one more stall onto Henning. Oh, they look for the engage though right away. Kevin steps over to get the stall and gets knocked completely deleted here. Rhaegar on the run does manage to get out, but with a pick this early, you expect this to just be a free plant phase here going over to Bangbush.
Yeah, it's got to be a free plant, and there it is. Henning starts up the channel, and we're going to have the plant terrors pushing early here at 11 minutes. And that's why you see so many teams delay, and never go for hard engages and try to play as safe as possible, because when this happens, the map just gets opened wide. And it's open so fast. We're at 11 minutes. We're going to have all 3 forts down and keep walls to the next target.
Yeah, this is a scary moment for Tempest. We'll see if Bangbush is able to get a single keep with this, though. The objective not super strong into the late game, so we'll see how much they're able to actually get. They sort of need to use this phase to be able to get an XP advantage to have a chance to snowball before 20, because outside of this, after this, if they don't get enough, Tempest will be on 2 seeds, and they'll have the potential to fight pre-level 20.
Well, Bulb getting cleaned up is one of the best ways to neutralize these Planetars that are pushing in. Capybara, though, however, taking some damage from Malfield. Ultras goes in for a little bit of harassment. Goes for a combo on Johanna. There goes the cooldown. Polymorph coming out, too, as Diablo goes down to half HP. Ultras keeping up the pressure, though, man. This
big
man has
entomb
no
here by
fear.
lockdown. 3-man entomb. You have the bunker go out, but the arrow goes over them again.
Bunker.
And jumps over the entomb, over the bunker.
Last right comes out, hits lockdown as well. Naga keeping the aggression, another jump propulsion, and that's 2 taken down. The fort being turned off by Sylvanas and a Bulb, the double whammy. And that team fight was just absolutely beautiful. 30 seconds for 2 to come up.
We'll see what Bang Bush looks to do. You do have the engage onto Ultralisk. I'm not sure if they have enough damage to actually follow this up, though. If they get one more kill, they'll definitely just look for the game. So we'll see what happens here.
Dogged out.
They do take down Skog. That's huge for Tempest.
Tempest now chasing them. Capybara leading the charge and lockdown as Lumen. That spooky ghost is haunting everyone around him here. Ultra's trying to retreat. Henning got to make the full escape. Ultra's not able to stay up, and Tempest is able to find a couple kills and keep themselves in the game. But damage report. Mid keep is taken down. This keep on the bottom left under half HP. Look over to the right side of the map. Orange has everything up. Now, with that being said, 1 seed, 4 Tempest, and everything changes.
Yeah, they did manage to get that defense that was absolutely critical. In a 3 versus 5, they have the audacity to look for that fight. That was a very risky play by them. If they lose one more member there on Tempest, they would have potentially lost the game. So a very brave play there coming out, being able to stay in the game here, being able to potentially get a fight pre-level 20 still. We'll see if the plant spawns before Bang Bush is 20. It's not likely. They'll probably have to try to stall it and just play for maybe the 2-to-1 in seeds to actually be able to get the plant with level 20s. But Tempest able to likely get a 20 fight, which is really what they're going to need to just get a good, clean fight to be able to actually have a chance at winning this game. They're very far behind in structures.
And now late game, about a half a level behind their opponents, but slowly creeping back. Merc camp available in the bottom right corner for both teams. I was thinking maybe Capybara would start rotating down there. Yes, they do. They're going for an invade, knowing that Bang Bush probably wants to wait for that level 20. This is a great pickup for Khaldor and crew as they attempt to get as close as possible to them. That 20, though, about to connect in the 3rd seed, in a great position for Bang Bush to wait for that 20 and build it up.
Yeah, we'll see if Tempest looks to just give this and trade for something else on the map if they feel confident to be able to do that. They might be too scared. We will probably see Tempest play just very safe. These siege giants in the bot lane aren't being cleared at all, so maybe they'll get a fort or a tower for it. Maybe they'll get a little bit of XP on the way to 20. But KCB getting caught out, actually. Nagger looking for the pick. Oh, the arrow goes wide, though, as they get CC'd on the backline from the arrow from Kepi.
They do. Containment disc comes out. Trying to come in. Leoric popped up. There's the Bloodlust. Buying time, getting the Autotex in. Nagram stepping up to hold his teammate. And Bang Bush, while they do use a lot of heroics, are able to walk away. Tempest in a position to where they didn't want to fully commit and find that kill.
Yeah, that was a very tense moment there. Had Rhaegar gone down with the level 20s, there was a good chance Bang Bush gets at least bottom keep. They're still looking, though, looking for picks here. You could tell that Bang Bush was confident in that fight, even when it started looking a little bit dicey, because Fomgrada's just still chilling mid. He was just, you know, doing flamethrower spin in circles, clearing minions. So Bang Bush seeming very calm here in this late game.
1 seed picked up, and Tempest starting to feel pretty good here. 1/3 of the way from level 20. Diablo just watching for the flanks. You see Kabe in that bush above. Same time, Maev, who has a pretty solid escape, holding the mid lane as well, and there will be the 20. Now, here's the cool thing for a Tempest. They have 2 opportunities to grab this seed. If they see that it doesn't look quite right for them, or they had a bit of a weird spawn for the seed, they would be able to back away and reassess and do the next seed instead. But this is a great position for them, and they're already stepping up to clear.
Yeah, it's a pretty good spawn for Tempest. It's on the bottom side of the map, which is where they likely need to end through if they get a massive team fight.
Yeah.
And the bad thing about it, though, is that they are near mid for Bang Bush, so I would like to see Bang Bush just look for like instant pre-taps and just go fight immediately.
Sure.
We'll see if they're able to do that. They are kind of just grouped around mid, and right now Johanna's very split from them. They do have Knights pushing in top, which is going to add some pressure. And Bang Bush is not as pressured to actually play for this. They might even look to put pressure on mid for a potential backdoor.
Yeah, I'm watching Sylvanas and Brightwing for Bang Bush, because that kind of tells what exactly they're going to do. If Brightwing runs up there or Sylvanas up there, they're just going to try and trade out the keep for that and try to delay as long as possible. Bump Grante drops out a little bit of a fire thing, and now the Night Camp and the minions are starting to hit that wall on the top left.
This is a dangerous game, though, with the Entomb potential.
Yeah. Here's the Entomb. It comes out. Here's the face shift instantly. Containment in the back line. Brightwing takes some damage. Lightning Breath doing decent damage as well. Nagram steps up with the trait. Here's the last fight. They find a pick. That's going to be 1 as we continue to go throughout this fight. 4 members low on HP. Diablo just came back, but Kepi's trying to retreat. Oh my gosh. They got the kill, and KCB is trying to run. Who let the dog out? The dog trying to retreat. Johanna sets up the Kadam, and that is going to be a pick pickoff. Diablo tried to stay. He jumps away. He would love to live, but he's the only one here, Justin.
And that's got to be game for Bangbush. 4 for 0. Absolutely ridiculous turn there. On the back of Swamp Garada, his bunker to counter the Entomb, I thought that might have been a Tempest engage that was going to just completely win them the fight. Swamp Garada had the Entomb to get them out of the silencing, or the bunker to get out of the Entomb. Absolutely ridiculous. Massive
and
turnaround.
the core begins to fall down to 30, down to 20, down to 15. They're taking their time as they're actually bullying Diablo. Finally get the kill, and Bangbush will go up 2-0 over the #1 Korean seed at Tempest. They only need one more.
Yeah, Bangbush is looking absolutely on fire here, up 2-0 in the series so far. With the comeback in Game 1, the absolute dominance in Game 2. Khaldor's happy. EU's up 2-0 right now.
He's a smiley boy. Look at that, man.
Bangbush is looking incredibly strong.
He's a happy boy. Oh, my gosh. Bangbush coming out. I thought it would be a series that would go toe-to-toe, and maybe we would see Europe start to bounce back in maybe Game 3, Game 4, and start to assess, but they have come out swinging in Game 2, and now Tempest against the wall is going to have to adjust their drafts and get ready for Game 3.
Yeah, it really feels like Bangbush is just coming out with more of a solid strategy. It feels like Tempest is drafting things that they're comfortable with that are just good in general, but it doesn't feel like they have a good, solid game plan. They want to fight like normal, but the composition, too, that you have going into Bangbush, they're so defensive. They have so many tools. The Ultralisk Malthael absolutely threw that game up, like, tore it apart. They got the fort super early. Bangbush is just looking nuts right now.
Game number 3 as we move in is going to be Tempest and Bangbush. And Bangbush is up 2-0.
Bangbush is absolutely crushing it right now in the series.
Golly gee, they are doing so well, which, you know, I'm a slight EU fanboy. I was there for a couple years. I think that's only natural. And I even thought, well, you know, this is going to be a hard one. They're probably going to learn a lot, drop down to the losers bracket, and then come back, and then maybe we'll get that in the finals if NA is unable to beat them. And yet, they are looking so strong. Even game number 1, where there was a lot of pressure coming their way, they stayed well-maintained. They were composed, and they were good to go. And that makes me so excited here for game number 3, because that means Tempest has to bring their A game.
We're good to go as well.
Oh, are we?
We sure are.
He took full hosting abilities. He injured the show. I'm going to be out of a job next time, guys. My God, let's move into it. As we're going to do Cursed Hollow. Justin, the man, is ready for the match. Lay it on me, dude. Go ahead.
All right, we've got Tempest versus Bangbush. Bangbush up 2-0. Not a lot of people expected that. Being the EU 2nd seed, Bangbush, going up against Tempest, the Korea 1st seed. They're absolutely just doing an incredible job.
Yep.
I'm really expecting Tempest to change up their drafts. This is the winner's final, right? So the loser will be able to try to make a run through the loser's bracket, but it's a long day if you lose this match. The winner here is going to be able to play in the finals, and the loser is going to have to win in the loser's bracket and then play for a potential rematch if they make it.
The loser has to become a winner.
You have to win 2 series in a row afterwards, which is just a lot of games.
And right now, 30K is definitely, I don't know if they're sitting in the crowd, but they're sitting here studying the matches. They are prepared. They are taking down the draft notes. They are seeing your weaknesses, and they are ready to exploit them. So every single game that you play makes your journey that much harder, I think is what Justin was trying to put out there. Tyrael, Lucio ban, they're thinking about their second ban. Are they going to take out the Kerrigan in?
I want to see it.
I mean, Kerrigan on Cursed Hollow.
I mean, the first banning of Kerrigan in general has seemed extreme. Like that seems extreme to me. Kerrigan, for most people, is like a C-tier hero at best. She's not even playable in most metas.
C-tier. Wow.
On most maps,
C-tier.
She's pretty like trash in most metas.
There's a lore master out now. She's the best.
There was a time where my team got blacklisted because I was trying to play Kerrigan in scrims because it was that bad. It was like, we lost to Kerrigan, I'm angry.
How petty is that? You need a manager to walk in and be like, all right, guys, come on, let him play Kerrigan.
Yeah, it was rough, but we do have the Diablo again, first picked by Tempest. Tempest not giving in any way, not changing the draft so far, just willing to take it, and if they lost with it, they don't care. They're still running the Diablo, and feels like Bangbush really has just completely controlled this Diablo by Capybara.
If we do have a Kerrigan picked up here. There is one way in the history of the European meta is if you have Blaze available to you, Kerrigan does get empowered because usually you go coordinated together. He does a jet propulsion, which is much easier to hit to get a Kerrigan combo. The duration of that stun is long enough, and it's AoE where Kerrigan can get a 2 to 3 man engage. And the best part about it all, even that setup sounds beautiful. It sounds great. You want to order it from a menu. It's a great appetizer. The main dish is that he has a bunker to follow up to give her time to get her cooldowns back. So if it did happen, this is how it would happen, with Blaze and Hanzo getting picked up. Rhaegar and Diablo for the 1-2. Tempest sticking with what they know, but this time, they get Sylvanas. I expect a Hammer ban now.
Yeah, so the Sylvanas is picked. Yeah, Hammer should be likely the ban for Tempest.
No.
Genji's banned away for Bang Bush. They take the Sylvanas away, but again, the Rhaegar Diablo, first 2 picks for Tempest. I really have not been a fan of the Bloodlust. It doesn't feel like it's gotten pretty much any value.
You hate it.
It's maybe allowed them to enable them to run away from the team fight they're losing a little bit quicker. It's not looking good to me at all right now, the Bloodlust. So I would have liked to see them switch things up a bit. We saw Ammonite playing a lot of Malf, and that looked extremely scary. So I'm a little bit surprised they're not letting the priority of support go down a bit. Bang Bush going to be able to pick up likely their support and probably their tank here and leave Ultralisk the option to pick the Kerrigan for the last pick.
Henning, and now I'm thinking, not Furion.
There's the Malf.
Stable pick, and Johanna. All right. Strong front line, and I think we leave Ultras actually open for a 5th pick. I think the Kerrigan in this conversation wouldn't work, though, just to like get it out of people's minds.
I mean, they've been first banning it, so I guess the implication is that you'd be willing to pick it that early on some maps, so I don't expect the Kerrigan, but Ultralisk can pretty much pick anything here, and it'll be mostly fine.
I mean, I'm okay with the Malthael, especially on this map around Tributes. You have a lot of room to give Malthael the momentum he needs to get that win.
Falstad as well. If there's nothing scary, they banned away the Genji, which is one of Falstad's. It's kind of a natural predator of Falstad's. Especially now into Malthael, running the double ranged is really your best option. I think Falstad's kind of the obvious, like the easy choice for Ultralisk, but he does have a lot of pocket picks, so it might be something else.
Maiev and Malthael, 4th and 5th pick for Tempest. They take away a couple of priority picks from their opponents. They get out some couple of bans. This draft is a beautiful draft, in my opinion, adjusting to what's happened in this series. You might have some disagreements about the map and what is happening, but in terms of what has occurred in this series, I love what Tempest is coming out with here in game number 3. Gives them a solid chance to see something new from Bang Bush, and as you called it, a Falstad.
Yeah, the Falstad's really good here. Double ranged into Maiev is annoying, and also double ranged into Malthael is very, very obnoxious. Malthael really struggling into that. And it felt like the Malthael maybe a bit of a like from the last game, like putting too much emphasis on it, being too afraid of it that you pick it yourself into a potentially bad matchup, which they're now in. Johanna doesn't really care about Malthael in the same way Diablo does. She has the Iron Skin. She even has the potential to get the invincibility basically at level 20 against it. So it feels really forced to take the Malthael. It just feels like Ultralisk is creating draft pressure on his own with his picks and with how strong he's played them. I'm really favoring Bang Bush's draft again. So I'm pretty worried for Tempest in this game 3.
I mean, you could even grab a Falling Sword on Falstad here if you want to and even dodge out on the last right. It's a bit of a timing issue, but it's one that you can really do with Johanna because of her trait. I mean, they have enough gauge already between Blaze and Hanzo. The options are wide open for Bang Bush here in game number 3. Can they close it out with a 3-0, or is Tempest going to start their comeback? Let's hop into Cursed Hollow as we begin game number 3. I
am excited. All right, and on the blue side, we have Tempest potentially starting their reverse sweep here. We have Gondar playing the Malthael, Maiev played by Lockdown, KCB playing the Rhaegar, Kepi playing the Sylvanas, and Capybara once again on the Diablo.
It's potentially the last map. You gotta say KCB again. Give it to me. I want the full B, full cheek. KCB. Yes, sir. All right, on the right side in the red, Bang Bush, heading on Malfurion, Nagrub on Johanna, Svamgrante on Blaze, Ultralisk playing Falstad, and Skog on Hanzo. It's going to be a 1-1-3 setup so far, as we have Bang Bush sitting down here on the bottom right. It's kind of interesting. It used to be that you would overload a lane that had the boss. So in the top right corner, for instance, Bang Bush would want to push the top lane. You want to try and get the walls open so you can go for a boss kill later on. This is actually a bit of adjustment that we've been seeing from EU this weekend, where they go to the opposite lane of where the boss is currently going to be, and they try to apply pressure there to keep their opponents kind of in that area and allow for them to keep up the aggression and stop them from being in a spot where they lose out on their towers.
Yeah, it might be a lot of just which team you think has the real pushing power.
Yeah.
If Bang Bush thinks that they can get more siege here in bottom, they might be able to even like overrun them and take their boss later on if they're doing an aggressive play. Whereas you're stopping them from sieging the lane they want to. So it's like the best defense is a good offense kind of thing, that you're forcing them to be in that lane just defending as opposed to pushing. So that's a good thing, good point you brought up. I hadn't noticed that they've been prioritizing that in that way.
They've done it 3 times, I believe, and Bang Bush in particular is the one that kind of focuses that. So something to keep an eye on in the future. We do have a night camp being grabbed for both of our teams. Typically, you're not going to have too much aggression. Falsett's going to be very, very content this entire game to be on the outside of the map. If things are looking even, your globals will always decide to try and eke out that W.
Yeah, Ultralisk on that Falstad with the global is going to be really a menace into the late game. They don't have any good response to it on the side of Tempest right now. It's the triple melee composition with good wave clear, but no globals of their own, no great sieging potential outside of that Sylvanas. And this is a map with an objective that doesn't also really enable a push with Sylvanas either outside of just the boss itself. So it's going to be difficult for Tempest to siege unless they manage to get quite a few kills in these team fights. Malthael, Maiev basically don't have any siege at all. It's really all on the Sylvanas in a straight just fight.
I love the 4 timing here. Hanzo should be able to grab a little bit more damage. The thing actually with level 4 is you usually get that explosive arrow, which helps with that night camp.
Ooh,
so
and the
this
top side though.
Sylvanas gets out and says
15 HP.
14 more HP than I need.
Wow.
Stare him in the eye,
Close.
put down a stamp, B-step him. Come on back.
Look across the desk at your opponent. Mean mug him
Give
on
him the
stage.
salute. I'm still here. Oh my gosh, if I could salute in game, that would be amazing. Ultralisk working on the giant, kills off one right away with that explosive arrow coming online. Let me make sure that's what he picked up. He actually picked up serrated arrows. Ooh. Usually if you see a full W build, it's usually on a boss field or BOE, and with that getting picked up, if there's 1 or 2 kills that happens on Tempest, you can see Bangbush go straight for a boss play.
Yeah, we'll see how the early game is going to play out here. Tempest needs to just be constantly looking for fights and constantly looking for picks, because Bangbush is going to have the macro advantage, having the global, having just better easy wave clear in the side lanes. It's really just going to be all about Tempest looking for these fights and looking for picks. We'll see if they can do it. They have to fight very aggressively to actually make things happen in this game.
All right, first tribute spawning here in the top right corner. Grabbing all 3 will, of course, give off a curse. Lockdown in KCB, holding down this top right, while Capybara continues to hold the bush. With all 4 here, Tempest trying to show their hand. They are willing to move in for the fight. Swamp Granta, meanwhile, is dealing with Malthael on the bottom side while the Giants get some aggro in. Hanzo actually not a part of this. He steps in and goes for full damage on Gandor. Gandor low on HP, and Bangbush is looking to turn into a kill. Gandor trying to survive, but it's just not enough.
And Skoog allowing Swamp Grotto to do what was unable to be done in the previous game for Lockdown, having the ranged come down to 2v1 the Malthael. Malthael absolutely hates getting poked at by these ranged heroes. He dominates the matchup against the tanky boys, against the Blaze, but as soon as Skoog shows up on the Hanzo, completely changes that. And they have the Siege Giants to help aid in this push. This might be an entire fort gain because Tempest has rotated all 4 members up to the objective. That was a huge play by Bangbush, especially Skoog on the Hanzo. Not just mechanically, not just doing damage, but also creating a massive just macro play by himself there on the Hanzo.
Gondar has to be really upset about that one there, as losing an entire fort, you own that, right? You're like, it was your job to hold the side lane. It was your job to make sure that you win that 1v1, and getting picked up there is very, very frustrating. But he immediately gets back there. He waits for his teammates to rotate down. Diablo is in a position, so he wouldn't have to deal with that again. That is the issue for Malthael, is he's a relatively squishy character, and although it didn't look like it when Ultras was playing it, is going to be an issue for any Malthael that plays.
Yeah, Gondar was feeling pretty good about that up until the moment Skoog popped out, and then he was definitely regretting his decisions there. Tempest does manage to at least trade half the fort for the objective. They didn't get nothing for it, but one curse point is definitely not going to be worth that, as the entire fort is nearly fallen here in the bottom lane, which is the lane that Bangbush was focusing from the beginning, like you'd mentioned. They might feel confident enough at a certain point to just look to steal the enemy boss and just force that instead. There's not a huge defender's advantage, especially once your fort is down. Then there's pretty much no advantage at all. So just well played by Bangbush, understanding like how they want to win the game and playing through their win conditions perfectly.
All right, tribute being grabbed for Bangbush. They do have a slight leading experience. This is still an even footing for Tempest. If they wanted to interrupt, they certainly could, but it doesn't look like that is going to be the option for them. Instead, they continue to put pressure on Nagram, who's working on the middle of the map, trying to defend against these turrets. As Sylvanas continues to be annoying. Ooh, Diablo with the fire stop. Gets a delay there, and every delay gets you ever closer to that heroic spike of 10.
But Capybara potentially in trouble here. Not likely to be a real 5v5 fight up until level 10s at least for both these teams. Both teams really wanting to get that, but it would most likely be a 5v4 if anything, as Ultralisk does have the global advantage, and it's a 1v1 in the top lane. So Tempest has to be really careful about stepping forward a little too far here until Maiev is able to rotate down. Kepi even still in the base.
I don't think they wanted to fight because Kepi had to go back. He was out of mana completely. So I think I agree with your sentiment there that Capybara has to play careful here. He wants to harass, but he needs to watch for a hard engage.
Playing a dangerous game.
Yeah. A game of chicken, if you will, with the Lord of Terror and
He's
a fire
just walking
bat.
up.
Oh.
He gets a little slap with his dinosaur arms and stalls the objective. They do have the members rotating in on the side of Tempest. Svamkarada now a little bit far forward, getting potentially cut off by the Maya. The vault into the back line, as they're pretty split right now on the fight. Skoog potentially under fire as the disc does come out. The arrow, though.
He hits it. Lockdown able to jump in. Ultras on the side. Has that Mighty Gust. Tries to push from the back. Unstoppable comes in on Kepi. Beautiful cleanse there from KCB. Turn that around. Going for a grush on top of Falstad as he rotates over and gets a little bit of damage. It's going to be 2 tributes to 0 for Tempest.
Well played by the Lockdown, actually, playing the Maya, being able to get the flank there, being able to kind of cut them off on the side of Bangbush. The ranged members did not really want to step forward there to assist their tanks in the Blaze and the Johanna. The Maya really splitting the fight there. And Tempest doing what they need to in this game. They're getting the boss. That's the only way that they can really siege. Their heroes are very, very bad at sieging, so they need to get the kills and then force with the boss in the Sylvanas or a Curse.
Oh, Tempest knows that this is a big win for them. You see them all leaning forward. Those shoulders are just into their monitors. They're ready to go as they grab that boss. Bottom push here. Moving straight in for the fort. Lockdown, Capybara, Kepe, KCB all here. Malvia trying to play it safe and double soak, also being a little bit more cautious compared to earlier due to that first pick. With Stock finally showing up though, the damage from these scatter arrows should be enough to help out with the boss, but saving a fort would be great. Oh my gosh, they're going straight for a fight. They dive in. Maiev lockdown, able to tether away at the last second. Lockdown hurting, but now the full focus of the boss can be used here for Bangbush.
Yep, nice there by Lockdown, having his E out already, being able to teleport to it to be able to evade that. And that's really bad for Bangbush, using the Blessed Shield, which is their main form of initiation, as well as the Hanzo arrow. All they have now, if they really want to start a fight, is Gust. So the expectation is that they're going to have to either give this or just try to poke it very slowly. But playing to poke this is extremely dangerous, because you're not really content to take a fight here. You pretty much only have the option to stall, and this is curse point for Tempest.
Gondor coming in from the back right, looks straight up to Conte. Here's the Bloodlust. He jumps into a bunker trying to stay alive, but he is just body blocked. His big meaty bones are a bit too much, and Tempest will find a kill here and move over and grab the first curse of the game.
Yeah, that was a tough decision for Bangbush too. The Siege Giants do get in bottom, and Ultralisk was just told to stay top. So there's really a dangerous thing to do, getting punished for that. That was kind of the first real macro mistake by Bangbush, and it's absolutely forced by Tempest with the position that they have in the map. This is where Tempest will thrive. Their comp wants to dive you under your forts. If you have no forts activated under the curse, this is just, you need to be scared if you're Bangbush right now.
Sounds Arrow comes out, Tranquility as well. Johanna trying to online. Big Mighty Gust into a corner. The fort is turned off because of the curse, but Falstad trying to bring out those auto attacks, hitting Diabo.
Maya's on the flank.
Lightning Breath comes in. Good call out on the flank. Lockdown gets pulled in. Henning trying to hug the corner. Does he hit? Jet Propulsion lands on 2. Ultralisk with the auto attacks, and Bangbush find 2 kills on a curse for Tempest.
Tempest getting over eager. They're going in without all their members. They look for the dive to some extent, but instantly you've got the reverse Uno coming out with the Falstad, with the Gust into the wall. They're just too late on the side of Tempest. They will get the top fort. They will get the bottom fort, as they did create a very good distraction in the mid lane. Potentially worth it overall for the macro, especially considering that Tempest has no real clear way to siege outside of the objective or with a boss. But about even overall, honestly, considering that they had the curse. They do get the fort in the top. They do get the fort in the bottom. But a boss is now taken by Bangbush. We'll see what they choose to do with it.
Yeah, I'm looking to push the top lane. And here you can actually have Falstad peel off and show up to a fight if you want to. You just want to make sure you have that minion control overall. And that should be the plan for Bangbush. Tempest, however, is looking to try and surprise him. Capybara stepping up. Moving to the left with the boss stun going up. They want to get that out ASAP to make sure they can handle these Giants. The Giants provide additional DPS to clear out that boss. Nagram taking some damage. Turns out the Bloodlust Shield. Looks at Malfield.
A little early. Lockdown into the backline. He gets the pull onto Skoog. We'll see if Skoog's able to get away. They do jump into the bunker. That's 3 people inside of the bunker. They're going to get combo potentially. Henning goes down immediately. Lockdown in the backline on the Maiev. He's potentially going down as well. Gondar just into the backline though. Skog uses his jump, but it's not far enough. He's definitely going to get chased down here. Tempest just running Bangbush down. Skog likely to get caught. He tries to get the cheeky back with a vision, but he's going to die as well. A clean defense by Tempest, just running Bangbush down.
They do, however, get the fort in the top left. The plan there was to retreat, go with the bunker, and drop in there. We would have Ultras rotate over to a Mighty Gust and pull everyone back. But Tempest speed, that Bloodlust actually paying off for them, allows them to get a couple of deletions, and Bangbush pay in dividends for it. If you look at the experience, it is 16-14, and Tempest is one to keep up the pressure.
Yeah, Tempest up 16. They've got the talent advantage. They're looking to siege in here. They still have a 5v4 window for a short period. Falstad is creating some pressure here in the bottom, and there is the potential for the flank gust within about 10 seconds. They're not likely to look for it, but if they see Tempest split up and get a little bit greedy, Ultralisk might look to punish.
That he certainly could. All right, with it all said and done here, we are heading to the next watchtower down on the bottom right. Boss should be spawning relatively soon in the bottom left. I think within the next 90 seconds, so that is something that we have to have considered for both of our teams. Finally, Bang Bush is able to hit 16, but Tempest right now with this macro in the early game is taking a pretty solid lead.
Yeah, and the boss is a weird situation here because Bang Bush does have some good boss control. They have the Johanna who can stand on the point quite easily. You have the Mighty Gust, which is very good for just staying on the point, but you do not want to be trapped in there with Tempest, with all those beefy melee characters, with all the AoE from Maiev, from Sylvanas, from Malthael, even Diablo on the point with the Fire Breath. It's really a tough fight to want to take against Tempest. So it'll be interesting to see how Bang Bush is going to play around that, how Tempest is able to force the bosses. Nagrim being the target right now in the mid lane. They're very far away on Blaze and on Falstad. This is almost a 5v3 for a little bit.
Arrow comes in, Mighty Gust disengaged. Two heroics used, now a third as we have the Tranquility coming in. Bloodlust also as well. Bang Bush trying to retreat, but Capybara, he wants a skog. He goes in, last right pops out. Nagrim's able to survive. He jumps into a bunker, but he has to be dead, right?
Yeah, Nagrim's definitely dying out of this. Capybara in the front line, getting whittled away by Skoog, but not enough damage to take him out. With a numbers advantage, Tempest is extremely scary. We'll see if they look to force the boss or if they're going to go for the objective. My expectation is that they either get boss or both, as Tempest really needs the boss to be able to siege with their composition. It gives them the ability to dive. It's just very scary for them.
This is what I love about tournament meta. Suddenly, Malthael, this character that wasn't even on the blip of a radar for everybody on Friday, is starting to become a main focus on Sunday. And I expect that to be a continued thing here, as we have Khaldor really doing a great job landing these last rides. If we look at the stacks in total, he has 3 already, and that's been about the number 3 to 5 so far for a lot of our teams. That cooldown reduction is so helpful as you head into the late game. 17 3/4 to 17 and a little bit of change here for Bang Bush, as a boss is aiming to push in the bottom map.
There's a potential for an actual base race here. We'll see what Bang Bush chooses to do. They don't go for the base race. They get the Siege Giants and they're going to back off and look for defense. This honestly might be a more risky play for Bang Bush, as the team fights have not been going well, and enabled with a Sylvanas and a boss, they have the opportunity on Tempest to just completely dive through the bottom lane. So I expect just a ton of aggression coming out from Tempest, as their comp is so dive heavy, and they have the Sylvanas with a boss right now.
Yeah, one thing that's is going to sound really dumb to say, but what Tempest is doing better here than Bang Bush right now is they're just straight up hitting their abilities. Bang Bush has not been able to land a perfect dragon arrow. It's been used as a way to disengage, along with the Falstad, even the busted shield. They're going to try and do it here. They go for a hard engage. Diablo taking some damage, getting locked down into a root. Thanks to Malfurion, Tranquility is out. Same time, Hanzo attempting to stay alive. Goes for the scatterer. Oh my gosh, that was juicy. Capybara trying to return 70.
HP
There
does go
it
down.
is. Diablo is reset. The boss taking some damage, down to 40%, but Tempest answers back and gets a kill on Blaze.
Blaze does go down. Diablo revived with the soul, so he's going to be able to defend against top. We're seeing it. Tempest, though, they do get the disc on the Falstad as well. Cappy now taking the damage. He gets completely obliterated by Skoog, but the pull onto the Falstad. Falstad likely to go down. Ultralisk trying to get away. Lockdown still going forward, as the boss is about 30% HP. Not sure if they're going to continue with this or if they're going to back off.
Oh, but Skog has Scarecrows too, so he can work on the boss. And look at the top lane. Although that we do have a fort killed in the bottom right, or excuse me, a keep. These Giants continue to siege away. Can they get it? Here's a couple of rocks. They take it out. It's a keep for a cape.
Diablo just doesn't care. Capybara had the opportunity to go clear top to deal with that. He could have flipped both the Siege Giants out if he wanted to, but he valued getting the objective and being able to be with his team over that. So I think Tempest might have thought they were going to get more there in that fight and potentially need the Diablo to help them end. So potentially a small mistake coming out from Tempest, which might come to hurt them quite a bit later in the game. If Bang Bush is able to use Ultralisk on the Falstad to be able to split push, they have an actual win condition now on the side of Bang Bush. So all things considered, they're not in a great position, but they at least have a clear potential win condition now on the side of Bang Bush.
Gotta agree with you. I would still give Tempest a pretty much a nice little lead, though, because of their next third tribute. And Tempest actually realizing they have level 20 to 19 3/4 says, all right, let's take away the win condition that Justine just talked about. They run straight over. They grab the boss, burn it down to 60%. Bang Bush right now can't really make a play for it, as they're just a little bit too far away from 20. The good saving grace for them is they do have Hanzo with Scatter Arrow. If I'm Tempest, though, I try to peel and try to save this boss, get the curse as well, and have all 3 lanes pushing at once.
Yeah, this is really scary for Tempest. If they're going to be able to hold the boss for as long as possible until the curse is up, that's absolutely devastating. That's pretty much unwinnable for Bang Bush if Tempest is able to get the boss curse with their composition. They have such a scary comp.
Do you ignore this and just go straight over to the altar and try to fight over there and let the boss get killed up by the cape and maybe fall sad? Can you handle a curse and a boss if you're Bang Bush?
No. I wouldn't be surprised if, so it looks like they're looking for a pick, or they're just looking to get as much damage on the boss as possible. This is kind of like their small power position. They know that Rhaegar's not here, so they might look for like a very, very quick fight, but this is an extremely difficult defense. Very hard. Like, Swamp Grotto's caught out immediately already. He might even just be so in trouble that they might just lose the fight off of that alone.
Johanna dropping down, Civilians containment is coming out, falls over the side, Blood pops up, there goes the Mighty Guts to the top right, Ultra's trying to hold it for his team.
The arrow
Stun into the corner, arrow picks up, lockdown taking damage.
So the engage kind of goes wide. Swamp Grotto does manage to get out. Bangbush does bail out his teammate. The boss about 40% HP. That's going to be what I'm watching, as there is no fort hitting it, no keep hitting it, as there is the curse happening. That they survive for now, but it might not be enough still. You have 40% on the boss. Tempest still going to be looking for a dive, looking for a fight. All the waves are going to crash in. If this keep goes down, if mid keep goes down, there's going to be so many minions. Tempest just wants to fight anything right now. A
different level 20 also from out there, just to point out real quick. He has a final curtain, which means he puts down that big shroud there, which zones out their opponents, and it's constant cooldown. The boss finally gets cleaned up, but that's one keep down, two keep downs, and a third as well. Skull turning around, no heroics up for Bangbush. Lightning Breath coming out, burning down Nagram. Nagram taking a decent amount of damage. Jet Propulsion comes out, completely whiffs, but Bangbush is somehow still in this game. Their core hasn't taken a lick of damage.
Yeah, somehow still alive. The curse, they've survived it, and they're on the offensive right now. They know that their base is going to be in shambles soon, but this might be risky if they don't get this fight. If they don't win it quickly, they're going to lose in the base.
Cappy on the top right, Savants on the right side. There goes a big busted shield. They're locking him down. He's able to blink away at the last second, but there's a kill as Malfield gets picked up, and he doesn't have a buyback. He picked a different level 20, but look at the core. The shield is starting to be deleted. 98%, 89%. That same Capybara trying to survive, but at this point, he just wants to make as much noise as he can. The core is down to 71%. Bangbush is going to have to go back and peel it. Finally, they do. Only one pick for Bangbush, and their core is bringing, excuse me, 2 picks for Bangbush, and with a boss spawning in the bottom left corner, is that the only way they can make a play here?
Yeah, like you mentioned, I think it is. They pretty much have to push out all their lanes and try to get any map pressure they can, so expect them to either take the camp or the boss immediately. Falstad's going to be working on the Siege Giants, while the rest of the team is moving over to the boss. They're in a 5 versus 3, but their base is constantly going to be getting barraged with these minions, with the mercenaries that have been picked up in the top lane. Rhaegar and Sylvanas, even Lockdown on the Maiev is now cutting the wave in mid. This is creating a lot of pressure. Bangbush, although they are in a 5v3, they're the ones that feel like they're in the losing situation here. In the losing position, you have Ultralisk alone defending right now. He's very freaked out right now. He is scared. Yeah. He has no vision of where they are right now. He doesn't know if he's getting 3-manned over the wall soon. But they do manage to take the boss. It's just so risky to try to do anything with it. It's mostly just denying it for now, potentially waiting for the next boss.
Okay, so Vados used Arrow, trying to silence Ultralisk before he would be able to tailwind away. The boss was grabbed, but make no mistake about it. Bangbush is going to be looking for a high-risk, high-play. You're at the point in the map where you are literally a step away from death. 65% on your core. Bronte steps up. They want to try and bolster out this boss as much as they can. I don't think he wants a team fight. He just wants to threaten the idea of a team fight occurring. Wants to open up this keep wall and be in a position for this tribute.
Yeah, and Tempest knows that Bangbush really needs to just force here as 5, so they're going to try to leave someone to split. Right now, it's Maiev being played by Lockdown in the mid lane, trying to get the pressure to be in, but they have Ultralisk with the global, so they might actually be able to take this fight in a 5v5, even a 5v4 potentially if Maiev doesn't get there in time, but they do back up.
They might be able to catch Maiev. Nagram's looking for it.
Ooh, if that would have hit just blind, get the stun, that would have been absolutely ridiculous.
That would have been very, very nutty. Night Camp grab. Falstad trying to manage these waves as best as he can. Wants to attempt to stop this catapult pressure and wants to be in a position where he can fly in, so it's a weird struggle there. He's letting his team know every moment whether he can fly in at a moment's notice. Hanzo here, poking around Nagram, trying to hold it back left. Shroud Curtain coming over the top left. Gondor trying to lead the charge here with Capybara watching his every move.
Falstad's flying in, so they're not going to have any pressure in their base. They pretty much have to fight now on the side of Bangbush if they want to be able to do anything, because they are on a timer. They have top wave that's going to be slowly pushing in with the catapults. Mid wave is pushing in with the Night Camp. Bangbush on a timer, and Tempest knows it.
This curtain is going to be so annoying. You're not going to be able to get the tribute. Capybara goes in. Onslaught Bronta. Nagram walking out in 3. In a 1v3 right now, it's stopping on the back line. Condemn comes out, and suddenly Gondor makes a call to go on over. Tranquility popping up, trying to keep him alive. Falls keeping up the auto attacks, not really doing much to Diablo. The fight is so back and forth right now. Night Camp, meanwhile, is emptying its way to the entire core.
Well, they're diving forward here on the side of Tempest. You have to crush into the wall with the Falstad. Ultralisk taken down as the chase is going to likely continue. They're split up. Gondar on the backline onto Skoog. Skoog's trying to limp away, but he's going to go down as well. 2 members down on 4th. Tempest getting another kill potentially on the Swamp with the base in shambles for Bangbush.
3 down. Tempest, they got it. Looks good.
Tempest is gonna
Looking
do
at
it.
the core here as Nagram has gotten to a point. That was the last fight for Bangbush. Only Malfurion is alive. Hitting going to do his camp forward defense. But with Gondor on his way, he's going to need more than Gondor because Malfurion does not damage the core. But
He's
still,
got the minions coming.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They jump on the core. And ladies and gentlemen, we are going to a game number 4 as Tempest fights back in resilient manner. 12-7 in kills. And they are able to grab it 1 on the scoreboard for themselves.
Ridiculous. They want to start the reverse sweep here. Malthael, not the hero that you expected to be the dark horse hero in this tournament, but coming out and even against double range, pulling it off. Tempest, with that style of composition, looked very scary.
Whew, man, Malviol is a terrifying character. Gondor really bringing it together. Just give me an idea of what's happening. He was the highest damage of the game, 74,000. Right behind him was Hanzo with 69,000, which is one that's me poking all the time, so it just gives you an idea of what was really occurring. And what was interesting for me was that talent pickup at level 20, the final curtain, really helpful on the tribute. It was really hard for Bangbush to get into a position to take that tribute and try to go back and defend their base. Almost, I would say, the MVP.
Yeah, and surprising so. At one point, it looked like it was going to be potentially a game-losing talent when they started dying in the base. I thought they might have a way to come back into the game on the other side, but yeah, when it comes to having you have all these minion waves permanently pushing into your base, you're on a timer, and you have that curtain that can just sit on the point. You're not being able to play for any tributes after that, pretty much.
Yeah.
If Malthael's pretty much anywhere. It's such a long range. It's a nice adaptation and a brave thing to do when you're down 0-2 in the series, to be able to take a talent that's that aggressive, not go with the buyback. Really brave.
That it was. All right, 2-1 in favor of Bangbush. Tempest right now finding momentum and looking actually pretty dominant, actually, I would say, in macro on Cursed Hollow. Now, with that being said, as a reminder, we are doing a giveaway every single series, and I think it's time for that giveaway. Do we have a, we're going to do it now? Okay, we're getting set up. I think we're about to do it. For those that want a banner that we showcased earlier, make sure you type in chat. I think you have a couple more seconds to get in if you would like to have it. Please do me a favor and have your Twitch DMs available so the admins can get over to you and make sure they set you up. And if you are a subscriber, you have a little bit more luck. You want to count us down? Pick a number,
Sure.
count it down. Do a random number.
Do 7. That's
7.
a nice number.
Count it down. Justin, count it down from 7.
All right.
And we're going to do the roll it. Make sure you get your typings in. Let's go for it.
All right. The moment is now. 7, 6, 5.
I don't know if they can hear it, but we're
4,
drumming.
3, 2, 1.
And
Push the
the
button.
winner is Drivron. Oh, I know Drivron. I've actually seen him in a lot of streams on Twitch. Congratulations on your dub. A subscriber earns a win. Pays to be a subscriber. That's all I'm saying. Look at that. He gets the W, able to get the win. We will make sure to reach out to you when we have the chance. And you have a choice of any team that you would like. Just let us know you would go. It's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed. But please let us know what team you would like, etc. when we reach out to you. And we will do our best to get it to you. Kappa Cool, he types. Hey, actually, can you move your head? I'm sorry, just for a second. Kappa Cool! Okay, you can put it back there. Go.
I'll be right here.
Congratulations, man, on your W. There will be another one, I believe, on the next series. Khaldor, confirm? There will be another giveaway on the next series. There's 2 more. There will be one on the losers bracket, and then, of course, the final of the tournament. So congratulations. Okay, game number 4. The map has been chosen. The lobby invite was canceled. I was invited.
Got pranked.
Wow, that kind of hurt, actually.
I
I feel like Jamie Foxx showed up to a party and was told to go away.
This was actually all a YouTube prank. This whole event was leading up to that moment.
This was an intervention for my toxicity. Is that what it is? We got invited. Okay, I got the invite, and our 4th map in this best of 5 series will be Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Heck yeah, Tome of the Spoder Queen,
Yeah.
as they say when you're playing on stage.
That's what
It's
they say?
Tome. Yeah, it's Tome of the Spoder Queen.
Is that what they say?
That's what I say. I don't know.
I remember when I first started casting. God, who was it? I think it was Total Biscuit. He used to watch a little bit of Heroes and Cursed Hollow. There was a phase where North American casters would say Cursed Hollow.
Oh yeah, this is the Cursed Hollow.
Yeah, and I remember him tweeting out to me in particular. God, I miss Total Biscuit. He was such a great guy. He was just like, "It's Cursed Hollow." Just yelling at you. Language is fun. It's fun. It's good times. It's great. Cursed Hollow, a map all about wave clear. Of course, making sure to have, not a reference to one of the teams here, but diamond hands. You hold all those gems. You make sure you don't lose them. Set yourselves up for a couple of turn-ins and open the map and attempt to try and beat your opponent into submission.
I think that's something that we saw from Ammonite as well, is they were kind of saving gems, which is something that a lot of teams, especially in NA, from the games I've seen, no team was really willing to do that.
Yeah.
This is a map that I think one of the strategies, like you can very intentionally run a strategy that's designed to just have very strong level 20s, and you can try to consciously save some turn-ins, some gems.
Yeah.
On all the other maps, if you get an objective, it's free. You get the objective, it's just purely value.
Sure.
This is the one map in the game where you have to give a resource in order to get the objective. It's not always worth it to turn in immediately as soon as you can. People, I don't think, understand that there's like a gem economy kind of to this map where if you think that you're going to scale into the late game, to end the game with an advantage, you need to be willing to take the risk of holding those gems through the early to mid game if you have a comp that can scale.
Yeah.
And we'll see if a team is willing to do something like that with a strategy like that.
It's kind of different from the other maps, and that's why I think some people have an idea of wrapping their head around that concept, because usually if you get a curse, it's a big haymaker punch. If you get Garden of Terror, it's another big haymaker punch. You're taking 3 to 4 fourths at a time. Where Tempest Spider Queen is more about jabbing, slowly beating up on the body until you can go for that big knockout punch. Which I think is a football reference, pretty sure one of those sports. Kerrigan banned out instantly, as well as Brightwing, Lucio being taken out. So it does seem like the smaller maps or any maps that might really have objective control or no massive areas for them to play around, they are going to continue taking out the Kerrigan.
Yeah, the pick-oriented maps, I would expect if we saw a D-Shar would also have the Kerrigan banned. There's just a lot of small corridors and like tight places where you don't want to be caught out with a Kerrigan just coming out of nowhere. And on Tomb, there's pretty much always just a fear of where the enemy is if your team is unable to control either the top side or the bottom coffer. There's a lot of space in there that needs to be controlled. Lucio as well, pretty much a permanent ban, but absolutely just the most annoying thing on this map if you're unable to rotate between the lanes. Things like Tracer are also quite strong on this map for the same reason, that the rotation between mid and bottom is super important, or from mid to top, depending how you play the map. And having something like that just permanently stalling you and controlling that space is super obnoxious. Blaze.
That has been a pickup for Bangbush this entire time. So with Bangbush, of course, falling victim to their opponents here, they had the option of going for first pick or map, and they chose his battleground here, which does leave them open to that Blaze not being grabbed for them. So bit of a draft adjustment, but also showing that if they're coming to Team of the Spider Queen, typically you have a lot of confidence in securing the match there.
Yeah, and if you're choosing the map, you likely have a very set plan. Their plan right now seems to be Hammer. Ultralisk likely playing that. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to play that with Skoog and have a different flex pick. So potentially showing some of their cards a little bit early. The Malfurion is still available for Tempest as the Rhaegar has been picked up. Brightwing was banned away, so there's a bit of a support choke happening here against Tempest if they don't pick it up now, so I'm expecting that they'll take their support here alongside probably a priority tank. They could take Diablo if they want it. And, I mean, that would have been a first pick for them in all the other games. They do take the Diablo.
Diablo into Junkrat. Try and make it a very difficult time for Sergeant Hammer. I do wonder if we will get a Sylvanas ban for Tempest in particular. As Bangbush has shown twice this tournament, they're willing to pick up Sergeant Hammer and Sylvanas, and they just split them on the map. They make you make a decision, and they try to punish you with it, right? And they'll take their wins. Team of the Spider Queen is a smaller map, not as easy to pull off, but still very, very doable and annoying to play against.
Yeah, Junkrat, similar to Chromie on this map, where it's just very difficult to siege into them, and they both have just incredible wave clear, and they both mess with Hammer quite a bit, so I like seeing the Junkrat picked up. Junkrat, with the adaptation we saw in Game 1 on Towers of Doom against the Hammer, seemed extremely obnoxious through the early game. It pretty much completely shut down everything Sergeant Hammer wants to do, and Hammer in general is a little bit difficult on this map, as you don't have that big space to split push on that you normally see from the Hammer, so we'll see what they're able to do with it on Bangbush. They might just run it down bottom.
What do you think of this Tyrael ban? That is a surprise for me.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. It might be that Tempest is planning to just all in on the Hammer no matter what, that they've already kind of committed to that type of a strategy with whatever their last two picks are, and they just don't want that to be shut down by anything easy like a Sanctification.
But they showcased Sergeant Hammer and Sylvanas. Like, I don't know. That seems...
Well, they had the Sergeant Hammer.
Yeah. It's just like, but ban out Sylvanas, right? Like, that's what I'm thinking here, right? For the third ban?
It might be that they think the Junkrat is enough to defend against that on Tomb.
I just like to talk through these things, you know, and figure them out. Ultimately, they're the better players for sure. Stukov and Mephisto.
I'm a huge fan of Mephisto.
Lay it on me, why?
Just whenever you're trying to siege, so Sergeant Hammer and Sylvanas both really want to siege. Whenever you're grouped up around something like that, a central objective, I think Mephisto's really strong on like shrines, for example, but it works here as well. Just the amount of value you get if you can actually fight against multiple people. It's nearly impossible to siege into Junkrat for his wave clear, and Mephisto, because of he stops you from sieging by killing you, which is very neat. Stitches.
We're getting some hooks.
Yeah. I love watching Stitches play.
Heck yes.
Especially on this map.
Stitches is always in most tournament metas. He's just one of those characters that's like is always there, but like you never will like know when he's gonna come out until you see him happen in a series. So players are like aware of him, but like he's not at the forethought of your brain, right? And so when he shows up, it's like, oh crap. But what do you think about Stitches into this composition? Is this something that is solid for Bang Bush?
Yeah, they don't have a very easy save with Stukov being their support. That's kind of the main thing, and they do have relatively good follow-up. We'll see if Skoog actually goes with the mind control just to have easy follow-up for the Stitches hook. Because right now, they don't have any like point-and-click CC to set up for the Gorge, which is something that's typically like crucial to have with the Stitches. So like they don't have the Junkrat traps or anything like that to follow up with. So it might be a little bit more of a difficult Stitches game. But when you get later into the tournament, it feels like people play safer, and a single pick means more. So something like a Stitches just gets so much more value than it would have at the start. So I'm excited.
Well, let's go into game number 4. Tempest is going to win this one if we want to go to game number 5, which would be our first full best-of-5 series throughout the entire weekend, which on a final day, I would love. Let's go ahead and hop into it. Bang Bush taking on Tempest. On the far right in the red, Bang Bush hoping to secure this win with Stitches. A bit of a flex pick, heading on Rhaegar, Swampgrante on Yrel, Nagram on Stitches, Skog on Sylvanas, and Ultralisk to play Sergeant Hammer.
And on the blue side, down 2-1 in the series, hopefully going to be starting their potential reverse sweep for them. You've got Stukov, played by KCB, Mephisto, played by Gondar, Blaze, played by Lockdown, Junkrat, played by Kepi, and Diablo, played by Capybara.
Oh, another hook comes out instantly here, hitting Junkrat. Gondar going to use the opportunity to jump on in and use some harassment. Now, typically in the past, Europe has been doing a main focus on that bio build. In fact, I think most would say that is the main focus. But I like your idea of going for a Gorge for a couple reasons. One, no escape. Oh, hang on here. Stitches to put against the wall, and he is going to fall victim as Diablo shows him who the true tank is.
Yeah, this might be a difficult game in the early stages for the Stitches. Stitches typically wants to have a game where his main goal is to just fish for hooks, and he never wants to be getting engaged on. So whenever you're playing against him, you want to be the one forcing the engage. A nice E there by Skoog, getting the instant unstoppable. That was pretty clean.
That was a weird interaction. I haven't seen that before. Where
that was clean.
He's like charging. He's like, oh, never mind.
Oh, carry on, sir.
Yeah, you've disappeared into the ether. It's whatever. So going back to that point earlier, Stitches, when it comes to Gorge, it can be a solid pickup when you don't have the save tools, as you were mentioning in the draft, but also with Mephisto, when he goes in for the dash forward, it's one of the few heroics and abilities in the game that actually doesn't allow for him to go back to his original spawn point. So you can take a Mephisto and move it completely out of position. So that just changes the way that Mephisto has to look into team fights. It's not something that's going to happen a lot at pro play. It puts enough pressure on them to make them play differently.
Yeah, I wonder if Bang Bush was expecting that, because you don't typically save your tank pick for last like that, and it is one of the best, if not the best, counter against the Mephisto, being able to get that Gorge before he can retreat so that he can't teleport back. But right now we have a really early potential fight here on the bottom camp. Lockdown getting onto the point, but they are in a 2v3 right now. We'll see if the members of Tempest are able to get there in time. Capybara is nearly here. He does get the wall bang over the wall onto Henning. Flipped in is the dog on Henning, but Kepi getting himself out as well. The fight continues on the point. Swamp Grotto getting on the point now. Capybara still trying to get on the point, but now they're 2v3. We'll see if Capybara is able to live. It looks like he's likely to go down here. Bang Bush, Skog actually going down. It's absolutely just a bloodbath for this bottom camp.
And the Giants are sold to Bang Bush as the cell comes in from Justin. Beautiful rap casting from him as we get a couple of pickups. Tempest losing out on a couple of kills there. 3-3 the score, and look who is in the top lane, living their best life. Sergeant Hammer.
Ultralisk just hanging out in the top lane. Not Lockdown, not a big fan of that, but Ultralisk gonna boop him back, give him a little slap, and just he's on out of there. Ultralisk having a good time, but what a crazy fight already. A big advantage going over to Bang Bush.
5.5 to 5 right now. Bang Bush getting a slight lead, but if you look down at the gems in the bottom right, it's actually 37 to 15, and that's actually the biggest story if it's all being said. Hang on, Nagram looks like he's gonna get picked off once again. The biggest story, oh, Mephisto also gets picked off in a different lane as well. The gems are actually incredibly low here for Tempest. They're down to 15, and a few were actually lost there for Bang Bush at the same time. Gems are being dropped left and right.
This is such a bloody game. It's super fun to watch. We've already had 8 kills in less than 3 minutes on Tomb of the Spider Queen. That's very atypical. Usually this is a very slow, just wave clear heavy map, but ooh, Ultralisk gets the boot back. Capybara tries to get the charge. Capybara is not getting it with the charges right now. It's unlucky against the range. But Lockdown being chased.
So confident in his ability to knock back any charges coming his way. He's done that multiple times. Some people might be a little bit too eager to drop their unstoppable. They pick up at level 4, but Ultra's like, well, I just got to make sure that I got to land my W's. And he does. So just gets pulled on back. This poor man's getting kind of bullied at the moment. Stukov able to provide a silence as well, but Nagram able to retreat at the last second while Henning provides a couple of heals.
Yeah, Tempest in the early game should be having a little bit of an easier time just collecting the gems. Nagram on the Stitches really wants to play slow and doesn't want to get engaged on. So being a Diablo, you're very happy going up against the Stitches. You're one of the easiest tanks to force engages as. So Nagram has to be just very careful in the early game here, as he's quite going to be quite the focus when he goes for the gems.
Hook comes out,
Hook
locking Diablo down. That's the only issue. When you do go for an engage and you try to retreat, that's what Stitches says, no, come on back, let's be friends. Gets a little bit of damage on Karabara. Nothing too personal, but you're starting to see these team fights and how they're going to unfold in the late game. A nice little preview of what will be occurring.
Oh, nice little helping hook, getting Ultralisk out of there. As I'm expecting the Mephisto will likely go with the Durance, which might be a kind of a soft counter to the Sergeant Hammer. That's kind of the expectation, is that the Durance is very obnoxious for Sergeant Hammer, especially at level 20 if you get the silence. But we have also seen the AoE ultimate coming out from him as well in some of the games I've watched, so we'll see what it is. But I'm a big fan of the Mephisto into the late game especially. It's just an anti-sieging tool, and it's very scary in late game fights.
And he also went Q-build too, so he's looking to get that damage ramped up. At least at level 1 he did. Gonna have another engage on Diablo, or excuse me, on Sergeant Hammer from Diablo. Ultralisk able to finally burst away as Swamprante comes in and buys enough time for him, and he'll reassess and build up. Only 4 gems have been dropped off, and they have been from Tempest, with the constant aggression currently happening. However, I do expect it to change around level 9.5. That's where you want to start trying to get those turn-ins and take advantage with a heroic to get force.
It's kind of a weird dynamic between the ranged on both teams, where Bangbush has very good siege between Sergeant Hammer and Sylvanas, and Tempest has pretty poor siege, but they have extremely strong defense between the Junkrat and the Mephisto.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if Tempest is going to be really eager to get turn-ins, because their turn-ins shouldn't get a ton early game, whereas Bangbush has a much better chance of getting a lot of value. Tempest, again, kind of similar to last game, really needs to get some kills to be able to really get much siege.
Stitches is going to constantly get slammed against the wall there, but he's able to walk away. And meanwhile, in the bottom lane, these Giants have been a main priority for Bangbush, and this time Tempest is not sneaking it out. So there we go, a little more experience, a little bit more pressure overall. My curiosity is actually building down at level 10. So far we've been seeing BFG from a lot of Sergeant Hammers, but there is a case for Napalm being strong here.
Yeah, I think Napalm's really good if your goal is to just play the fight very slowly. I think they have decent tools to do that, especially with the Stitches. You're under really no threat to fight quickly outside of the hooks. You're just trying to play safe, play to peel, and play to just get those hooks. So I think it's fair to do either, but we do have the BFG coming out, looking for more burst. We do get the mind control, which is pretty abnormal. I think that is because they don't have good follow-up for a potential Gorge or even just for a potential hook.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of CC follow-up, so having that, especially into the late game when it becomes a very low cooldown, very good to have that set up for your Stitches.
Yeah, the Stitches hook, I believe, is 16 seconds. Gosh, it's been a while. It's up there, but with the mind control at level 20, you get to a point where every hook that you're going out there, you'll have a mind control within seconds of popping up too. So I agree with you with that level 20 being incredibly terrifying. And the hook, of course, gets longer as the duration of the game goes on, so suddenly you can get those hooks and get those hard engages. Capybara trying to drop down some gems.
It's Bile.
What's that?
It's
it is
Bile.
Bile. Oh,
Bile
wow, yeah. So no Gorge coming in, hook still there, but the Bile gives him a lot of peel, and it's actually really good for locking down Diablo if he goes in for an engage and he just oversteps slightly. You can kind of peel in there and body block him. That's one thing that Stitches is good for. That big, massive, thick dad body is wonderful for locking in fights. Nagram on the right side, watching Diablo. Spell shield is coming out, so Bronte staying here on the left side, and there's the Bile, slow him down.
Bile's an interesting pickup. It could be used both offensively, like we just saw, or defensively to disengage. I think it's good alongside the Hammer in particular, since their entire composition is really disengage, and Stitches on his own doesn't provide much of that. Outside of the 16 slam slow that he'll likely take, there's not much he can do to peel. So I actually think the Bile pickup is just purely adaptive for that, because he is playing a slow comp with Sergeant Hammer. So in that case, I like it. And the 20 upgrade is actually pretty strong.
35 to 28 in gems. Hook on Mephisto finally. Able to peel back though, thanks KCB being there. Khaldor comes in, gets a huge ring of damage. Bunker pops out, a little bit more fire as well, as we're going to have Lightning Breath on the bottom right. Swamprante able to retreat. Hook comes out, but just barely whiffs. Ultralisk though might be by himself, getting knocked around. There's a combo. Oh my gosh, he's able to get out. Turns up. Hey, there's fights everywhere, Justin.
Ultralisk might get taken down as well. Oh no, he doesn't. You have the Ancestral Force based off of that Riptire, and it actually ends up being a 1-for-0 so far for the side of Bangbush.
Where's the hook? Where's the hook? Nagram goes out, he gets it on Diablo, tries to lock him down. Copy trying to retreat, Skog just pelting away the auto attacks. Here's a combo into a wall. Copy trying to retreat, and Capybara barely gets out.
Nearly getting body blocked there by his own teammates, but Tempest is the one that gets the turn in here. Kepi does get those gems in. He's trying to escape from Swamp. He'll probably be fine, but after that's said and done, Tempest goes down 0-1 in the kills, but gets the objective.
Oh my gosh, I feel like we're watching a China match. There's so much aggression going on right now. Our defender comes out with the last bit of mana from Swamp Grante, and Henning will not have such a healing quite yet, but enough heals to get them on back. Blue Web Weavers are being summoned, and Tempest will be the first to draw PvE blood.
Yeah, nice job there getting out as well by Swamp Grata, just barely making it out there alive. The defense here for Bangbush is a little bit more difficult than it would be for Tempest, so I'm curious to see how much they can actually get on the side of Tempest. I expect them to play super aggressively and try to even maybe potentially look for a dive here, as they don't want to play slow against the Stitches composition, against the Hammer composition.
Biles out, helping with the wave clear. There's the heals. Henning just watching his teammate. 30 seconds for an Ancestor healing, just trying to clear out these Web Weavers, buying any amount of room they can for Skog. Nagram, I feel like, is going to be in trouble, though. There goes the unstoppable. Diablo was in a position to go for a Shadow Charge to get a kill on Stitches, and he realized that. So instead of just charging and killing him, he says, here's Lightning. Hits him, does a Lightning Breath, and that is going to be a quick pickup.
Bangbush being a little bit greedy. They're playing split, trying to get the defense in top, and they get punished for it. And now you have the potential rotation down here into the bottom lane from Tempest, looking for the dive onto Swamp Grata. He doesn't have his Ardent Defender available. He looks for the jump. The boop might have actually helped him here. We'll see if he's able to get out. As Tempest still thirsty, they're diving the fort right now. They're taking the fort shots to be able to try to get this fight. They are 5v4, but they do at least manage to force them back, and that's 2 forts off the first objective for Tempest. A very successful first turn-in phase.
Very successful, and they have another 10 and almost available for them. 51 out of 55 gems needed, but the space they created is monumental. Currently at the moment, Bangbush is trying to drop off a few of their gems. Skog's going for the channel, and Capybara realizes that he has to turn around and force a fight. He is by himself. The rest of the team is on the way with KCB and Kepe trying to come in. Swamp Grante trying to buy time, and Bangbush finally able to retreat and unable to turn in as they wanted to.
And Ultralisk, very brave here. He has 43 of the gems, and he's stepping forward onto the bottom point, trying to potentially get a turn in. It is scouted out there by the Junkrat, and he's going to turn around and say, no, nope, definitely definitely not it for Ultralisk. He looked for it, but he couldn't get it. Tempest potentially going to bully them off this objective here. Skoo getting on the top side. He gets the Unstoppable, he gets the cleanse. He is out, but we'll see how the fight progresses. Nagram potentially going to look for a hook here.
A push away, a Riptire as well. Swamp Grante taking the brunt of that beating from that tire. Lockdown also stepping as well. Khaldor going in, looking for as much pressure as he can with Mephisto in his Ring of Death. Swamp Grante steps up, sees Diablo, knocks him in. There is a Shadow Charge available. There it is on Nagram. Hook about to be up in a few seconds. He wants to try and go for something here. However, with Sergeant Hammer in a position, they're just trying to protect him.
And it feels like Gondar is almost taunting Nagram for not taking
Jump into a knockback. He's going to teleport back here in a second.
Back. We'll see if they have the follow-up. Gondar very low here.
They do.
He does get taken down there. Sergeant Hammer with the auto attack damage at the end.
Control. It's up and available. Will Scott want to move up here and try and grab it? They hit it.
Oh, the bunker to dodge out the mind
bunker.
control. Oh, as Nagram gets pooped in as well. That's 2 gone down. Swamp Grata. Gonna potentially.
It connects.
Oh, he makes it out.
Scott is trying to stay alive right now, Justine.
Oh, he goes down as well. So we got a 2-for-1 right now. Skog extremely low on the backside as well. Tempest is just bloodthirsty.
These fights are just nutty right now, but with it all said and done and Web Weavers pushing, Tempest will take the lead in that fight and look to push for more. Already sieging down the keep in the middle. That fort in the top left looks like it's going to be deleted. Ultralisk is trying to hold down the angle and not get silenced.
It's absolutely just crazy how quickly. Oh, Tempest potentially going to look for another pick here on Henning. He's kind of stuck in the corner there. He jukes around and he does manage to get out. Trying to get zoned a bit there by Capybara, but really good, just clean engages coming out from Tempest. Bangbush not being able to really hit the hooks that they need, not being able to play slow enough, and it really feels like potentially taking that bile has hindered them greatly, as Gondar is free to just do as he pleases in these fights, having no gorge potential to be able to pull him out, not allow him to E back. It's very, very just scary playing against Gondar right now. He's getting a lot of resets in these fights. Nagram on the Stitches, not getting quite the value he'd hope.
Tempest waking up, it looks like. And this game number 4, finally, with it all said and done, the Web Weavers will be cleaned up. They're going to go ahead and move into the night camp here as well, but Bangbush barely holding on, landing their level 16 and starting to unlock some important talents. Giant Killer coming in from Sergeant Hammer, which gives them a nice sigh of relief against Diablo and Blaze.
Yeah, it's definitely going to come in handy for Ultralisk playing the Sergeant Hammer. There's a lot of tanky frontliners right now that he's got to deal with. Capybara especially is just looking so scary in the front line and forcing the fights that they need to against the Stitches. There have not been any like really meaningful hooks. The invulnerable tap still blocking it there.
Durance, it connects with one, gonna hit two. Stitch is locked into a corner, and Suspect healing does come out, but it actually goes over on top of Skog, who needed the healing as well. And poor Stitches just gets bullied out completely, and now with the middle of the map getting opened up, Ultralist is forced to try and help defend it, but he's so low that Gondor might be able to move in and get the snipe. Finally, with some thrusters, he gets out, but this core is in trouble.
Tempest isn't done yet. Tempest just gets one kill and they run with it. We'll see if they're able to stay mid or if they're going to look for something else. They are transitioning into the top keep. They are potentially going to get split here. We'll see if Bangbush can take advantage of this.
Trying to get a kill on Blaze, able to jump Fortune out. Capybara on the left side here, setting up for a flank, but with minions showing up, he should be able to rotate to his teammates, and he does. Firestomp comes out, Gondor as well, attempting to do what they can. Mind Control goes out for a hard read, but it does not connect. They were trying to catch Mephisto.
Yeah, that was close there, but just manages to get out, and they are pushing towards the keep, as it is now a 5v5. The advantage, oh, not anymore, it's not. Now it is a 5v4 once again. As soon as they get their last member back, another one falls, and it's it's like the Ants song with them going one by one. It feels bad right now for Bangbush. They're just getting farmed at the moment.
This is really, really rough. The 118 gems, too, you're at a point where Bangbush has to continuously try to defend these keeps, but also hold on to their gems, but also try to kill their opponents who are just healing left and right. Stukov is very, very content here with keep everyone nice and healthy. With a core exposed now in the middle and the top, Tempest is going to show off their traditional gameplay of trying to push in and end the core. They're just trying to find that angle to start building the shields and get the catapults there.
Yeah, Tempest is having just a really nice game right now. They've got 9 to 6 in kills. They're just running it through top and mid. They've been almost A-ramming for the last 5 minutes here, just permanently grouped together and winning every single 5v5. Capybara the focus, but is he tanky enough? Is he going to actually be able to go down?
BFG, it connects, they finally get a pick. Now Diablo will be back, hitting on the left. He does have healing available, locking on his targets. Oh, but that's going to be a pick on hitting. Jet propulsion afterwards, 2 are falling. Skog trying to get the damage. Ultralis trying to help out, but 2 members are down for Bangbush, and Diablo's on the way. Gondor low on HP, so is locked down. A back and forth between our two teams. What a bloodbath.
Absolutely crazy defense, though, coming out from Bangbush. Although it is 2 for 1, they do manage to at least stay in the game. Had that gone a little bit differently, but Capybara's not done yet. He comes back. Nagram potentially too far from home. We'll see if he's actually the focus. The hook comes out. He does get Cappy.
It's
mind control.
There it is. They finally connect it, and I think finally, after 400 hours of fighting, there is going to be a potential for a sigh of relief. Let's check out a quick little instant replay here as we saw this fight. This was a 3v4. Gondor was getting peeled out. Lockdown went in for a jump propulsion to save his teammates, but he wound up getting locked down. And then afterwards, of course, we had the beautiful hook into a mind control.
Look at the gems.
And Tempest pulls away.
Look at the gem count for Bangbush. They've taken quite the beating, but they are only down 1 level here, 20 to 19. They have 2 turn-ins, almost 3 turn-ins available for them.
For those that might be listening audio only, just to give you a number, 138 gems sitting on the side of Bangbush. As mentioned by Justin here, multiple turn-ins available.
Skoog at 94 gems on the Sabanas. He's actually the target. He gets gone on here. He's very low.
No,
Look at all those gems.
He was just trying to help his teammate, gets a helping hand there to pull him out of the damage from Mephisto. He does pull the gems closer to him, but winds up getting him burned by a lightning breath. Juggernaut up in 3 seconds, and Tempest will have all 5 once again. Will they continue their siege?
They look for the boss here, it appears. They're in the top side of the map. They're pretty split right now on the side of Bangbush. Swamp Grotto really far from home. He's got 49 gems on him. It's about a third of the total gems that they have. Nagrim looks for the hook. He gets Diablo, not the target he likely wants. Swamp Grotto trying to escape. We'll see if he's going to make it. He's getting run down. No Ardent Defender. And that's another kill going the way of Tempest. They likely turn to the boss. This is nearly indefensible for Bangbush. They're going to have to try to turn in probably to just stop the bleeding, and that might alone not be enough.
Yeah, they need to sneak someone, but they only have 3 of them available here. I hear production on far left yelling KCB as they continue to keep bringing in the damage. Rhaegar and crew working on the minions. They are building towards level 20. Can level 20 save them here, Justin?
No.
No, that's been called.
Lockdown sees, he catches Nagrim in the bot side. He knows the stitches, looking for the cheeky turn-in. He's expecting that. He drops the spray, and he's there stalling it. This is likely game here as the knock-in onto Ultralisk. Ultralisk running for his life as the Rift Tire chases him. Makes it to his team, but here comes the big boss.
Just barely. Jet propulsion in the back left. Lockdown comes in for the flank. Ultralisk trying to get away from it. Another Durance comes in. Will hit Stitches. He's locked down into some creepy hands. Somehow Ultralisk is able to survive. Trying to move over to the area. He sets up with the BFG. Does some decent damage on the back line. Meanwhile, Sylvanas jumping on top of the boss and trying to DPS it, but the core is beginning to fall, and there's 2 more.
Bangbush falling here, 2 for 0 so far in the fight. Tempest just relentless with the fight. They have the boss on the core. That's 3 members down. Likely to be 4. And that's the 2-2 right now. They bring it back. We're
That's
even
right.
in the
We're
series.
going to a game number 5 as Tempest and Bangbush tie up the series. Tempest in these last couple of games are going crazy, and Nagram already making calls to his team. He's like, guys, this is what we got to do. This is what we made as mistakes. Let's set up for game number 5. And here's the good news. We're going to have a bit of a break.
Tempest posed to have a reverse sweep here in the series. Bangbush taking the first 2 games. And then Tempest coming back, down 0-2 in the series, back to 2-2. We're in game 5, the final game of the winners bracket finals. You win this, you go straight to the finals. You lose this, you have a long road ahead.
Yes, sir. Loser will have to face off against 30K, who was looking fierce last night. I wouldn't want to face any of these teams. I would probably just get disqualified. Here we go. Into BOE it is. Tempest versus Bangbush. The support bands instantly coming out. And with BOE, this usually indicates we're going to have some kills in these games pretty darn early. Lucio, Brightwing, and Diablo banned out from Bangbush. This was a lesson that we've learned from a lot of our teams. And it looks like Bangbush is in game number 5. We ain't dealing with it.
And Tempest learning a lesson as well, banning away the Sergeant Hammer. Both teams having one of their kind of region's niche picks banned away. As Tempest Capybara won't be getting his Diablo here. We'll see what he's going to pick later on, but I'm super excited. We've got a lot of Hanzo priority as it's even first picked here. BOE kind of a map that's known for Hanzo, but Blaze still available. A little bit weird things going on. Yeah.
Before Hanzo started to become a common pick on a lot of different maps, there were a few maps where it's like, you need Hanzo. Period, if he's available. And it was this map. Curse Hollywood, probably another one, and I'm sure there's another one loading around as well. But the Scatter Arrow build just was devastating. It used to be stronger than it is now before it got nerfed. Blaze and Genji will be the first and second pick for Tempest. Strong top laner, strong team fight. What I love about Blaze is even though he's strong already, I feel like he's a little bit stronger on BOE too. With you being able to drop down a bunker, you can block out chokes and prevent people from getting flanks on you. My Ev is a second pick for Bangbush, which is an adjustment. It's been more of a 4th or 5th pick in this entire matchup, which is kind of an indicator of how the draft is going.
Yeah, it feels like it might even be, to some extent, a deny pick. You don't typically see Genji and Maiev paired up together, but Gondar played a very good Maiev, like very scary Gondar playing Maiev. And they've been playing a lot of Death Ball on Tempest, a lot of dive. So it might be partially a deny pick, just as well as picking it for themselves. They have a lot of Wombo combo potential right now on the side of Bangbush, having the Dragon Arrow from Hanzo, having the Maiev with the tethers, and having Stukov with the puddle underneath it. It's just a lot of AoE comboing potential from Bangbush.
As Turk would say, yes sir, as Anubarak and Varian actually banned. Varian is interesting. We have seen 2 Varians this tournament. I don't think they actually got wins, but it does seem like that idea of taunting Genji and Tracer, which was like one of the first ways that people started to deal with these hyper-mobile characters, is just something that Tempest didn't want to deal with at all.
Yeah, and he really struggles, Varian does, when he's the only form of engage, but in this setup, they don't have that as the only form of engage. They also have the Maiev. Now, Hogger, Uther. The Uther, Stukov double support, Hogger and Maiev, so no true hard tank. I love this. This is something that I'm the biggest fan of. We pretty much have a Maiev main tank here. I love this. This is like my favorite type of comp.
What a way to win or go out, right? Like, here you go. We're going to go on this.
I love it.
And it makes sense. If you're going to do something a little bit on the awkward side that is more team-oriented and team fights, BOE is a perfect map for it. For those that know, it's a 2-lane map. It sets you up. You have a lot of Brawl in the middle. The Immortals are so strong that you have to come to them. And so now you're in a situation where you have a pseudo-tank with Uther, but you have a great engage and follow-up from Maiev. Love to see that. Johanna and Vala, who at the very beginning of this tournament was a main pick for the Koreans, and it's slowly over the span of a few days fallen down in priority. But Vala on this map, there's no doubt about it. She is wonderfully strong.
Yeah, I love this comp, how it's rounded out for Bangbush. At first, I was a little bit worried for them. I was thinking that Tempest getting the Blaze, the Genji, and then also the Johanna later on seemed like they would have all the priority in the draft, but I can't not just love this double support composition that has come out from Bangbush. It's something that I've been a fan of forever. I love this composition. I don't see Vala or Genji really being able to get any value here. Vala has a potential to maybe carry the game alongside Johanna. Since the rework, Johanna's actually pretty good into double support, but she didn't used to be. Now she's pretty good against it. But Genji should really struggle here. If he's not able to have just super clean dives onto the Hanzo and catch them off guard, Genji just doesn't do enough damage to deal with like the potential stat checking that double support does against you.
Well, let's see how it all unfolds as we move into game number 5. Battlefield of Eternity, Tempest and Bangbush trying to see who will be going on to the grand finals. Let's jump on into it.
And on the red team, Bang Bush, coming from Europe, the second seed here in the winners final. We have Henning playing Stukov, Swamp Grotto playing Hogger, Hanzo played by Skoog, Nagrom playing the Uther, and Ultralisk playing the Maiev.
Far left, Tempest currently on a bit of a hot streak, if you will. Cappy playing Genji, Capybara on Johanna, Gondor on Vala, Lockdown on Blaze, KCB playing Anduin. Let's jump straight into it. The crowd's excited. Our first full series of the weekend is the first full series of the day as well. We are in for a long day of games.
Hell yeah, we are, and I'm here for it. I'm so excited for this. We've got the double support composition going up against Tempest with their hyper carry Vala comp. We'll see if they're able to get the value. Bang Bush already looking to win the 4v4 here with the double support. It's nearly impossible to force a Stukov double support 4-man out of lane. They're going to just run you down and out-sustain you over time. Ultralisk gets the stun. You have to pull back. Gondor does escape. The fights are likely to last a while. Kepi actually getting the dive here onto the Uther. Nagrom actually stepping up a little bit too far. We'll see if... No, Kepi is able to get the jump over the wall. That's a 1-for-0, not what you expect into double support.
That was a back and forth. The Skog was actually trying to get a hit on Cappy there, because even when Uther does die, he provides that healing afterwards there, so you want to try and stay and linger around the fight for a few more seconds, as you'll have constant healing coming in. Ultralisk will move on over and continue clearing out the map, but what this does is it slows down that rotation to grab the camp on the bottom, which is usually a reward for grabbing the first one there. So I like that pressure stepping up. Grante setting up for a quick grab on these Merc camps, and Lockdown will scout it out.
Oh, he actually stops it to look to fight Lockdown. He might potentially think that there's more members coming, and Swamp Grotto will back up as there is the rotation now coming out. Genji and Vala rotating to the top side, so he's going to say, never mind, and he's going to allow his bot side to really get the push on. Even though they're the ones who lost the Uther, like you mentioned, they bought enough time to actually secure that camp in the long run. So still a good macro, still understanding from Bang Bush coming out, knowing that their comp is still strong, that they could buy enough time to still get this camp in the bottom.
I really love how the first couple minutes on BOE just structures your team to do certain things. It's all about a little bit of tug of war, a small move of chess, right? Just trying to read those rotations, trying to mass them as well. We're going to be very, very close to experience, but here's another engage once again. Skog's starting to run out of mana, but he can pick that up later on with the tap, or of course grabbing a couple of regen gloves from this wave. Decides to go ahead and pull on back, because what's coming here is the main show, the Immortals.
Yep, the Immortals are going to be spawning soon, so you expect both teams to slowly back off and go take their night camp, their goat thing.
The goat
the
things.
shaman.
The goat shamans.
The shaman thing with the dogs.
You can say goat people. That's cool too.
It's the... Well, he's a shaman, right? The goats are in the top and the bottom. These are the
oh, yeah, these are the hell demons, right?
Yeah, the good boys, the dogs.
Yeah, the puppies.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get the puppies pushing in the top lane. We'll see if they get some aggression. Puppies will also be pushing in the bottom lane for Tempest. Ooh, a full engage on Lockdown, trying to body block him. They actually hit the jump propulsion because Skog hit the hit. Ooh. He goes for the auto attack, and he sure does. A 1-for-1 for our teams as Bang Bush and crew set up for the Immortals.
A very large advantage here coming into it because they also got to hold their camp on their shaman camp. So the camp coming in earlier for Tempest, and they're in a 5 versus 4, so they're not going to be able to get as much. Swamp Grotto rotating down to contest it, to clear it out. So it's 4v4 on the Immortal, but they get the clear. So it's just a big advantage for Bang Bush all around.
Yeah, burning it down quickly. Vala attempted to try and mitigate that as much as they could. Oh, Genji gets locked in. Oh my, that's massive. That's huge. That's big. That's, more words, gigantic.
Gigantic.
I love that one right there. Immortal continues to get focused, and Skog keeps up with the scatter arrows. Ultralisk helping out as well. And this looks like it's going to be an easy first Immortal. At this point, Tempest, all they can do is try to burn down as much of that shield before they set up on a push.
And this is extremely rough. Into double support, when you're up as 5 like this, you love sieging with the objective. You can even try to tank the fort at some point if you're able to break that wall early, just to keep the HP on the objective. Lockdown potentially going to get picked here, actually. He is fine. They don't go for it on Ultralisk, playing a little bit safer. Also doesn't really know where everyone is, so it's smart to hold back there. But we'll see if Tempest fights past. No, definitely not in Game 5.
Yeah, for sure. The pressure comes in, and this should equate it to a wall. Maybe a little more damage on that fort, but Tempest here with all 4. And remember, they have their own DPS as well with Vala, so they should be able to help burn these down. The main focus is going to be Ultralisk. If we can get a tether over the wall and try and pull him in, that would be fantastic for Bang Bush. But so far, Tempest is playing perfect spacing.
Kepi on the Genji really just struggles into double support. Not Kepi in particular, but just Genji in general. As soon as he goes in, he's immediately, there he goes, the stun instantly. The second he's in range, he gets stunned, he gets tethered. There's nowhere to go. Nagrom a little bit low, but on the other side, Gondor's getting shredded on the back line. The scatter arrow does go wide. Gondor is still alive, but he gets taken out.
They finally take him out, and with 2 of the DPS being cleaned up, that is potentially going to
3
be
go down.
a 4. That is 3 amazing picks, and their reward will be the fort, which is massive on Battlefield of Eternity. Really quickly here, let's go straight into that instant replay. Look at the Immortal Stun. It comes out. You're going to see Ultra step up as well as Nagram and try to get the stun on Kepi. There it is. Tether into a stun. Oh my gosh.
Beautiful.
The coordination, but also the timing there is so hard to pull off.
So perfect. Getting the pull into the stun, into the Uther stun as well, just instantly bursting them down before they got the Anduin to save them. Lockdown, absolutely ridiculous. We'll see. Here comes the Uther stun. We'll see where the follow-up is. Might not be enough. It's not. A little bit of breathing for now.
Yeah.
They're up 1 level. They secure the top 4. A big advantage to Bang Bush still. Tempest, with this type of composition into double support, you really need your ultimates, especially with a Genji, to be able to have enough engage to really do anything meaningful. If you watch Kepi in these fights, he's absolutely struggling. He gets out-traded by Stukov. He gets 1 shot if he ever gets Uther stunned. It's nearly impossible to play these fights, especially without your level 10.
Kepi comes in, though, trying to keep up that resilient pressure, trying to see if they can maybe get a kill before that 10 does connect for Bang Bush that is ever creeping so freaking close. And the big news here is there's an Immortal in 29 seconds. If you're a Tempest fan right now, you've got to be worried for them. This Immortal is going to be devastating. They got to try and soak up 10 and try to meet them on the halftime show.
This is just a lose-lose situation for Tempest. They want to fight pre-level 10, but they know that their composition doesn't really allow them to. They don't have the engage tools yet.
Ultralisk gets a tether.
Almost 10 as well. They do get the pull onto Gondar. Gondar pretty low. He does get the tap. He'll probably be fine, but they're going to lose at least the first half of the Immortal. Tempest is happy only losing half the Immortal and trying to get level 10, but they might lose the entire thing.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, what is it, 3/4 of a level there? Look how fast this thing burns down. You're going to look Skog over here when he does the scatter arrow and just pops it into the wall. Just going to just keep that damage applying so quickly, already down to the halftime show. Not a lick of damage coming in from Tempest. Tempest right now just trying to find something. Gondor over, sitting down here in the bottom right corner, gets locked in. That's going to be another kill. Bang Bush is straight banging right now.
Yeah, more like Gondar because he's gone.
That
so
was
do we have the button?
Justing, man. You just made the best fun of the entire weekend. It's over, guys. We can all go home. The Immortal continues to get focused down. There is nothing coming in from Tempest, and this has got to feel awful. Tempest right now desperately needs to get level 10. They're trying to grab it, locked down on the top right corner, soaking it up. Johanna's there to try and back him up, and they got to have a near flawless defense. Now, there is good news. There's 2 speed bumps in the way, a forward and a keep, which can buy them time and give an opportunity for a fight to turn around with heroics.
And the cage coming out from the Maiev, I love that, as well as the slaps. Slaps from Stukov. I see so many Stukovs take the other one, take the push and just do nothing with it, especially with double support. With double support, if you're losing the fight, you want to reset the entire fight. So going the slaps enables you to actually do that with double support. I love that pickup, and they have the puddle inside of the cage. The cage comes out, Gondar extremely low. He's going to probably just get deleted on the backside. It's nearly impossible to fight this. The slaps trying to keep Genji in range.
Arrow, it comes in. KCB trying to retreat, but he gets locked out.
Shockwave on the backline too.
Hogger comes in and slams him into the ground. Hogger spins. That's going to be 3 down. No, that's going to be 4 down. Oh my gosh, Johanna trying to retreat, and Bang Bush, they want more.
A 4 for 0 for Bang Bush, and with their composition and an Immortal pushing, they might be able to actually just end the game. They might get a 13 advantage. Yeah, with a double support composition, it's more about their mana bars at this point, and outside of Ultralisk, they're all fairly healthy on mana. We'll see if someone steps up to actually tank the fort. If you aggro it by hitting an enemy hero, you might be able to tank it and allow the Immortal to survive. Tempest needs to get a team fight here, or they will just fall so far behind.
They're trying.
Capybara, though, stuck in a corner.
Locked into a corner. There's no way for him to get out. He'll actually get picked. Genji on the back line. He's kind of low, trying to do whatever he can here, but Henning is just dropping all the Stukov heals. Hogger's going in, going for the bumps, trying to land some dynamite. Finally, he will fall. Ultras also takes some tower shots. He will leap, hitting low at the same time. Everyone's low. Oh, no, it's a Genji. Kepi comes in, and that's going to be 3 kills, and Tempest can breathe for a second.
3 for 2. Tempest does get the defense here. They don't lose the game off of this. They'll possibly be able to get even talents for the next objective now. They haven't lost, but every fort still available for Bang Bush. Bang Bush still in an incredible position right now in the game. This is going to be an absolute struggle if Tempest can bring it back.
Oh, I feel like we've been talking, and there's been so much going on. The players have been hitting many buttons. For a second here, we get a little bit of a breath, but don't take too big of a breath because there's going to be Immortals up spawning soon, and there's Merc camps to grab.
Yep, and Bang Bush, the first one's there. They're already up in top taking that goat camp. They have their Shaman camp available as well. We'll see if they're going to look to hold that and play for the objective with it. Tempest needs to play hyper-aggressive now. They can't go into an Immortal phase and just be even. the expectation is that they might even look for an invade over here, which you almost never do. But you really need to just be pushing forward and looking for something on Tempest. They can't play passively, or they'll most likely just automatically lose on the objective.
13 to 14, even in terms of talents, as you were just mentioning. Things looking a little bit better for Tempest. They can try and step up. They do have to be careful because there is no safety net. There's no bumper rails for them to kind of back up into. If Bangbush is able to find that tether and pull them in, especially for a mortal phase, that could be darn near game ending. So you're going to see everyone play a little bit on the safer side. Johanna is shadowing every single carry. Vala in particular has had a very rough match so far. So now Johanna is just shadowing her, not stepping up the tank, watching the bushes and making sure that it's not flanked.
Yeah, it's a very difficult game to be Tempest right now. Oh yeah, you have to pick potentially onto Kepi. Kepi looking to escape. The Hanzo arrow does come out. We'll see if there's any more follow-up. CC.
Where's the stun? Where's the stun? I think it's on cooldown. One more
the
second.
shockwave
Oh,
from
here's
Smough
Hoggers!
from the side.
He comes in and gets the pick.
Genji dead for 25 seconds. The Immortal spawning in 10, so we'll see what they're going to do. They actually might get rotated on here bottom. Lockdown and Gondar very far forward as Bangbush is... They're coming. They're going to see if anyone can escape. Kabibara trying to just play defense, but Bangbush doesn't care. They're just going to start the Immortal. They're going to get half.
Bangbush is coming. Immortals getting completely ignored on other damage, and at the same time, Bangbush knows they have an advantage. They're trying to lock down someone here. Ball is able to vault away, and KCB is in a position to try and pull anyone that he can here, but it's hard as Anduin. Everyone keeps getting melting consistently left and right. Anduin can only do so much.
Yeah, and Anduin's a hero that gets just left behind if the fight gets a little bit too aggressive. He's very strong when you have good places to retreat to, and he's strong when you can just set up and force a fight, just play front to back. But as soon as something starts going wrong, as soon as you're on the back foot, it's very hard because you need to channel your heals, you need to be able to pull people to safety. As soon as you start losing the fight, Anduin is almost useless in a fight.
Yeah, anchors are pretty bad when you have no chains, right? We have Mayem stepping up, looking for potential tether. There was a shove there that did split them up. A bit of an overlap there between Henning and Ultralisk, and now Death Propulsion comes in. There goes the bubble of healing. Silence comes out to stop that as soon as possible from him. Dragon Blade goes in. There's a bunker up. 2 people are killed off, though, already. 3 are trying to hold off against it, but they're looking nice and healthy. And remember, this is a double support composition. Bangbush is looking for a third kill. Anduin left by himself. Gondor desperately trying to shoot anyone that he can forward down. That's going to be 5. Say it with me, Justin. 5-man team wipe. Bangbush looks over to the Immortal. They start to burn it down. Could this be game ending?
This has to be game ending. Tempest would need an absolute miracle. Down level 16s, a near full shield Immortal pushing into the top lane. This is almost guaranteed to be game over. They've lost every fight, 4 to 18 in kills. That's ridiculous. The series falling apart here for Tempest, and Bangbush just absolutely decimating them in game 5.
If you're Tempest, you look at this and go, screw it, we have to fight behind the Immortal.
Yeah, you have to. You have to just force a fight, and it's so difficult to do that. Kepi, every time he goes in, he just gets CC'd and deleted. He needs an actual miracle. He has no Dragon Blade either. He's got 40 seconds on that. This feels nigh impossible for Tempest.
Okay, Kabibara and crew stepping up. Let's see if they're going to be able to handle this. Big Condemn coming out, stopping the minions. The Immortal, so healthy, so robust, such a huge raid boss, and behind that, 5 angry heroes from Bangbush trying to end the game.
Lockdown looks for the charge, but does miss. We'll see if they choose to focus him. Likely they're going to be looking to just highlight the carries, just focus on Gondar and Kepi in these fights. That's what they've been doing so far, and it's been working. A lot of damage going on to the Immortal, though, for Tempest. They might potentially be able to hold. Bangbush playing very slowly at this point, which you wouldn't expect. You do have the CC coming forward onto the Johanna.
There it is. The Stukov comes in, and that's going to be Johanna getting completely deleted. That's a talent advantage being showcased right there. He's stuck in the back line, but so is Genji too. There goes a heal from Anduin, trying to keep him alive. Kepi trying to do something, but Henning says, no thank you. Gives him a slap to the left, a slap to the right, pulls him back up with 5 strong. Bangbush is trying to take Tempest, send him down to the loser's bracket. Can they do it? They're low on mana. The core set of defense catapults are here. They need to start DPS in this core. Finally, the shield's taking damage. Kepi using Dragon Blade not to do damage, but to run away. He is terrified. Hunger is trying to get him. Can't quite do it, but the core is starting to fall.
Double support here. It's nearly impossible
60.
to get off of the core. 40%. 30%,
20,
and falling. Bangbush does
10,
it. They take the series. 5. Wow, game 5.
Incredible. Bangbush gets a 3-2, earns the W. What a series, and Bangbush will be going to the grand finals. Tempest will have to face off against 30K, the North American team, who's already knocked out 1 Korean team. Oh my gosh, what an incredible series here at the Miami Heroes International.
Couldn't ask for a better series here for the winners final. Absolutely ridiculous. Just Bangbush really rallying at the end there. I think the composition my favorite type of composition, just chef's kiss, perfect. Love double support, especially
that,
on
didn't
Dewey.
you?
I loved that. And I loved watching them just completely look invincible. That is the Exodia comp right there.
That is the Exodia comp right there. Taking a breather here. Incredible back and forth. We had Bang Bush, if you missed the very, very beginning, start the series with a bang. 1-2. Game 1 and Game 2, they earned the W's. Tempest, after a slick little break, come back, adapt in the draft, showcase some mouthfeel. Game 3, number 4, they look dominant, shutting down Bang Bush. And then game number 5, the odd stuff comes out. The double support, the Maiev control, and it was just enough. To give you an update quickly here, 21 to 4 in kills. They couldn't get anything to go their way.
No, it looked absolutely miserable for Genji especially. That's something that I had been curious about the Genji, just priority in general. He's strong, but he doesn't have a lot of like just high numbers. Like he's good for his utility for what he does. He can dive really deep. He has the deflection, but his numbers are low. Double support will stat check you, and they completely just ruined the Genji pick for Kepi.
He's a lot of work, right? He moves into a fight, and he can help secure the finale of the fight once you're done with it, when you've made something work out for you, and then, of course, he chases you down. But that initial front-loaded portion needs to be carried by some other character. And the problem was, Vale here was having a massive issue. That was a consistent focus. And it got to a point where they had to adjust mid-game, and you saw Johanna start to really shadow her and make sure, okay, I'll protect you. Get underneath my wing. I'll make you a Crusader in the future, you know? No more demon slaying. And that left Genji out on their own, and we saw that pick in the top left corner. And at that point, you're at a 3-level disadvantage. We've all experienced before in Storm League. Being 3 levels down sucks ass, straight up.
Especially against double support, it's even worse.
Yeah,
it feels
it's even worse there.
impossible.
And Bang Bush, what I loved about this game number 5 is they put it all on the line. There was no slowing down. There was no hesitation. They had plans. They went in and nailed those plans, obviously, and kept up the momentum. Didn't allow any wiggle room, didn't allow their opponents to soak up and get back in the game, and that kind of stuff, you need to have that conviction in order to win a tournament, which makes them one of the most terrifying teams here at the Heroes International.